Hello and welcome to Spurs Kings TV. It is Tuesday. You know what time it is. It's time for Ashmatic Analysis. Ash, you well?
Bro, you know what? I'll be real, man. I've been taking a little holiday, little fiesta, siesta, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just trying to re-energize, man. But you look, we've got about 4 or 5 more sleeps until Spurs are back, you know?
Mate, Spurs are back already. Don't worry about that. Spurs were back last week.
Boy, there's never a dull moment, you know what I'm saying? We can't even have a little break. Every single day, something's going on, you know what I'm saying?
Bro,
And we were talking backstage, you know, obviously about Marinakis. I'm sure we'll talk about it more.
oh,
The whole Ange Postecoglou situation. It is crazy, but we've got a special guest for that one as well.
yeah.
But yeah, like the whole Daniel Levy situation, obviously it's been done to death on all of our platforms, but you know, we have to talk on it, bro. We have
Bro,
to.
I was listening to someone last week, and they were talking about the WSL was starting on, like, everything was ramping up on during the week because the Premier League was finished, the international break. No one cares about international break, and they went. And then Spurs dropped some news that basically just wiped everything off. Everybody was talking about Tottenham and men's football and Premier League, so it suddenly became a really interesting part. But look, I ain't gonna lie, I'm over the bloody moon.
I know.
I am literally
Remember,
over the moon.
remember when the news broke, man was like, Lord Vader has gone.
I think I rang everybody. I was like, this is the news I've been waiting for, because I've always been Levy out, Enoch in.
Yeah.
I've always been that way around. I know a lot of people want Enoch gone, but this is the man I wanted gone. I don't care what happens next. I really don't. I don't care if it goes up or down. If he's done what he's supposed to do, it shouldn't be a backward step.
Interesting.
That's how
We're gonna unpack it all
We're
anyway,
gonna unpack
man.
it all. We're gonna unpack it all. But apart from that, yeah, holiday back. I think I
Feeling
haven't
pressure?
a little bit. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I missed the whole end of the transfer window, missed the whole Daniel Levy getting annihilated, and then I'm just back. And then obviously Anne's dropping today as well, so I've come back at a good time.
You have, man. Let's pivot, man. Let's double pivot away. Let's bring some guests in.
Let's bring them in. First of all, let's bring in the man that I always say started the channel with me, because he was one of my first guests, and he's obviously been brought back for a reason today. Which we didn't anticipate was going to happen, but he's here. But big up, Andy. You well?
How you doing, guys? You're right.
Yeah, man. Blessings, bro. Good to see you.
All good, and congratulations as well for you.
Yeah, congrats, bro. Congrats.
Gosh.
And then someone who went disappearing for months, and then he's been on for the last 3 weeks. He helped Ash out as well for the last 2 weeks while I've been off. But he needed to come on with me because he knows he wants to argue with me about you know who. But big up to Oren. You well?
Yeah, I'm good. Marlon, I've never seen you this happy. Apocalypse could happen right now, and you'll be
You know what?
singing and dancing.
Mate, even if Spurs lose to West Ham at the weekend, yeah, I'm on last word on the weekend. You're still going to see a happy face. That is how happy I am. I'm not going to lie.
That's all good. It's all good.
And also, I can see him moving, but I don't. Hopefully, everything's all right. His end. But a big up to Manny. You well? Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you guys hear and see me?
We can.
Yeah.
We can hear and see you.
Oh my god, what a day I'm having. This is crazy. But thanks for having me, guys. You heard Ange is back back at the helm, so you decided to bring the guy back, you know what I mean? So
Hey, man, ain't wasted no time, you know. The lag is real, though. I don't mind your face being like that. Yeah, I don't mind. Your face is just there, innit? You're not moving, but we can hear you. That's the main thing. It's cool.
Yes, as long as we can hear you.
So, right, cool.
So obviously, since you last on the show, Ash.
Yes, it's a lot on the show.
So obviously, we lost to Bournemouth. However, international break was coming. We was all out. You know what? Spurs before an international break. It's been like this for 2 years. Who gives a crap? Spurs decided to drop the biggest bombshell news on Thursday. Probably the biggest piece of news, which I said it went from a 8 out of 10 transfer window to 11, just like that. But the man has gone. Look, I'm over the moon. But a lot of people have been, when a lot of people are 50-50 about it.
Yep.
Apprehensive about it, like what's next? What does it mean? Some people are like, well, people that were running the club are still here.
Hmm.
How are you feeling towards this whole situation? The man has finally gone.
Yeah, listen, look, I think what a lot of the fans are doing, they are reflecting on his tenure, and rightly
Yeah.
so. Since the, sugar days and the sugar days basically was the main thing. How where we were as a club, how we've moved on since then, since the takeover happened. And then the biggest thing is the stadium, right? The stadium
Mm.
is the thing that has going to be talked about the most because that's what sets us up for the immediate future, and not the immediate future, but like futures to come, like seasons to come. We're going to be like hooked up. But me personally, as a fan, as a footballing person, as a person that wants their club to be along the elite, um, he has frustrated me many windows. Many a window I've been pulling my hair out and saying why. And I won't go into the full history of when it first started, but I'll go quickly because I know we're going to get into all of that. So I'll just give a quick overview. And I'm like, Levy for me is like someone that has a lovely home on the street, and everyone's like, wow, what a lovely home, what a fantastic house. But he's not the most successful man on the street. I don't know if that's a good analogy, but that's how I personally feel about it because off the pitch, businessman, like he's been an innovator. Let's have it right. Do you know what I mean? But on the actual
Fair enough.
footballing side, in terms of like taking that extra step, getting that extra mile, I remember when we were in a title race, and this was with Harry Redknapp, and I'm sure we've gone over this 100 of times when we needed to get like a certain forward in and a certain centre back in. We opted to not go for the expensive type. We opted to go for uh, a loan and a free at the time. So ever since then, I've seen similar patterns kind of repeat itself throughout windows and windows and windows. And some people say a leopard doesn't change his spots. The last thing I'll say, just to quickly, because I don't want to go too far into it. I'm just going to say this. Look, there's one thing being prudence, like being prudent, being like, uh, shrewd in business. But there comes a time when maybe in 2004 that worked, 2008 that was acceptable, 2011 maybe, but 2024, 2023, 2022, them things there don't work no more. Do you know what I'm saying? There's new players in the game, there are new owners, the rules have changed, and you've got teams that cheat as well. So like you've got your Chelsea and Man City you got to deal with. So I just felt like he didn't really move with the times in terms of transfer strategy. And that for me was the difference between us being a good football club and then us being like exceptional, where we can start lifting trophies and winning stuff, etc., etc. And so that was what it was for me, just in a kind of nutshell, without going too in depth.
I'll come back because I've got a question for you afterwards. But Andy, how did you take the news? And where were you? This is the bit I like to hear. Where was everybody when they heard this news?
I was at work actually. But to be honest with you, I mean, I'm loving life without him there. To be honest, I think everyone is. I think if you supported Spurs for more than 10 years, you'd understand that this man's held us back for so many years. Now, look, don't get me wrong. Off the pitch, he's probably one of the best chairmen you'll ever see. He's taken us from a club worth about 100 million to about 3.5 billion. So, in terms of financials, amazing. And I feel like when he took over the more shares, that's when he became more and more stingy because theoretically you go from 10% to 29%. A lot of that funds is coming out of your pocket as well. So, and he held us back for so many years. So when we found out he was gone, actually I wasn't at work, I was at home, and I was just my phone was going off. It was just going nuts. So yeah, it's obviously a good thing. Glad to move on from him. Obviously, we've wanted him out for so many years. He's not a proactive chairman. We've seen that so many times. He's the best accountant you'll ever see in the world. In terms of his financials and his numbers is unbelievable. we revenued 250 million back in the day. Now we're revenue 540 million. So his numbers speak for itself. But the real numbers are the wins and the points on the board and the trophies. So now he's gone. There is going to be a takeover. I don't listen to that statement. There's definitely going to be a new takeover from what we're hearing, and we're hearing the Qataris or the Saudis. And the statement was quite interesting because they said they've turned down both bids, but any other consortiums we need to know by the 5th of October. So I feel like, Spurs know there's a takeover, and I feel like either one of those, whether it's the Saudis or the Qataris, they're not going to want Daniel Levy as a chairman anyway. And we brought in Carrington as the non-executive chairman, which leaves that chairman spot open for the new owner. But I think more than anything, going back to Levy, he's done these 25 years. Amazing when it comes to the financials, but not good enough when it comes to transfers and bringing trophies home. So I was buzzing.
Manny?
Yeah. I mean, can you guys hear me? Because
Yeah, we can hear you.
I've been confined in the shed to not wake up the kids, and I think because of that, you might see my face lagging, but hopefully you can hear me.
All good, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, from my perspective, like I concur a lot with what Ash is saying. Like, I know people are quite flippant a lot of the times when they say, off the pitch, he's done great for Spurs, but on the pitch he's not. Like off the pitch is very important. If Spurs need to be able to spend as much as everybody wants them to spend, the off the pitch part was very imperative, because we were in a what was it, 35,000 seater stadium,
Yeah.
in the old stadium, and that was all it was being able to be used for. So that was never going to generate anything for us to be able to push forward. But just like Andy said, and that's the key part of it, is the fact that, in my opinion, he gambled, and unfortunately that gamble didn't pay off. He gambled on the laws coming in and stifling all the other teams that were not able to generate in the right way. And if you think about it, it's right. Like we even in the overlap interview, he was talking about that a lot, and he is right. Without rules, when you have teams selling their women's team to themselves, selling 4 hotels to themselves at a premium, it doesn't become fair. So I understand the point that he made, but he should have understood that, regardless of that, he should have done everything possible in his power to allow us to challenge on the pitch. And I know one day when he's looking, inwardly, he will tell himself, and he will tell himself the truth, that he actually didn't do everything that he could. So I think from that perspective, like when I heard that he was gone, obviously I was like, great, new way of seeing things with Vinay, new. To be fair, actually, when I saw it initially, I thought, "Whoa, we're getting taken over in the next few hours," but. Obviously then we heard that we had to we actually didn't have any bids. We had expressions of interest, and because of the fact that we're bound by the UK takeover law, they then had to release that, or issue that statement, saying that the the 2 consortiums that have expressed interest now have to basically tell everybody whether they're going to bid or not by the 5th of October. And we know that Amanda Stavely has already said that she is not going to do that, and that precludes them from having another bid for the next 6 months. So we know that between now and the next 6 months, unless something major changes between now and the 5th of October, nothing is going to happen. But I'm cautiously optimistic, but at the same time I have a lot of questions that maybe a few people can answer. But yeah, that's where I am at the moment.
Oren, where are you sitting with the whole Daniel Levy? Where were you when the news dropped, and how are you feeling?
Just pulled up to go to Tesco's. I was in a car, saw it, and I went, okay. Then I text you. That was it. Like, I've always said that there's certain fan base that would never be happy unless Daniel Levy left. And as a Spurs fan, you know, I've stuck up for Daniel Levy. I would admit it, and try to give the different, because it's basically what he's done from, like you said, Ash, taken from Alan Sugar. What he's done, that won't be done again in football history. Like with only 2 trophies. Let's all remind ourselves if he only did with 2 trophies. So he's got Spurs to the level that they are with just 2 trophies. Went from a club that was always selling the best players to retaining the best players. And I do believe that when he stepped down, I thought, right, has he stepped down or was he told to step down? That was the question. Because you don't give a podcast on Gary Neville saying that I want to be remembered for the stadium and things like that. And then all of a sudden you go, you know what, guys, I've thought about it, I'm going to step down. So personally, I think that he was told to step down, and it coincided. This is later information I got, because everything blew up. I think everyone started talking about stuff. But what the stories I kept reading was that Joe Lewis is taking a step back. And it was actually very interesting. Harry Redknapp, he was on Sky Sports, and he said, look, I know Daniel Levy has his problems, I've had his problems, but you have to remember that he didn't get the final say. He had to go to Joe Lewis. This is the same guy, owner, who came to Spurs and watched him twice a year, if even. So I'm sure Daniel Levy wanted to do stuff, but he would have to get it by Joe Lewis. So if he'd have went to Joe Lewis and go, right, this is what we've made, can you give a cash injection? Joe Lewis like, nah, there's nothing he can do. No one's going to shout at Joe Lewis. They're going to boo at Daniel Levy. So I think when I saw it, then fast forward to now, I think like he was told to step down. Vivian Lewis is coming in, new CEO, and I do think that, like I read, was Daniel Levy used as a scapegoat? Because now it's brilliant. Ian can come in and go, guys, you see that old Darth Vader bald cunt that you all didn't like? It was his fault. It wasn't my dad's fault. It was his fault.
I feel like they're blaming both though. Because
in a way,
I feel like that. Yeah, I feel like it's not just we're going to sit there and blame Daniel Levy. But
yes.
I feel like because everyone's now talking about the kids.
Yeah.
Even Daniel Levy's son is involved in all this. This is where it gets all cloudy and murky.
Yeah.
They've gone. Our dads, they could only take it as far. Yeah. And actually, it's our dads that were the problem, not us. We're going to move it in a different direction. I feel like they're throwing their dad under the bus as well. But without
you know what?
Us.
That's business. It's not personal. Yeah. When the kids grow up, they've learned from their dads. It's business, not personal. Dad, sit down. Joe, you're 80 years old or whatever, go back. But I do think we're all speculating what next. I personally think the only thing, there's no point doing all of this, preaching this new era, if you're going to do exactly the same thing, and not invest in the club. ENIC has to invest, because when it comes to a family or the group of youngsters, they want more money. And they can use Spurs as a basis to go, yes, look what we're doing. It's kind of like, fuck you, Dad, fuck you, Levy, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get our fans on our side. We're going to get the Lewis name being chanted. And we're going to put money into the club. Because 4 billion can easily turn into 8 billion. You know what I mean? And so those kids want to become even richer. So I think that the only thing they do, and as for a takeover, they won't sell it. I personally think it's not going to be a takeover. Again, for the sheer reason of why sell for 4 billion when we can invest into the club, get them winning trophies, get all the praise, have a statue built of us probably if Spurs didn't win the Premiership, and make 8 billion. Because any person who buys this for 4 million, it's a, I wouldn't say it's a bargain because 4 billion is a fucking shitloads of money, but you know what I mean? It's like that profit will turn into 10 billion with all the grind, the train. Like, is the hotels ready yet? I don't know. Like, you guys.
No, they're not.
They've been put on hold, isn't it? They've been put on hold. And Vivian, when she came in,
never going to be worth 8 billion. Would never be worth.
Yeah.
No. I'm okay. 8 billion's a bit of a stretch. Maybe triple. Maybe 5 or 6.
If Man United are worth 6 billion, we're worth probably 3.5, 4 billion if we're being honest.
Yeah.
So
but I'm talking about. Well, do you not think
If we
that
were to win, if we were to
titles
win,
and trophies, that's what I'm
if the
saying?
football bit comes into play, then
But the max we could do is match that 5.5, 6 billion. We'll never move anything more than that. I mean, I feel like they're getting involved, but I actually do think the Lewis family was just trying to get Levy out of the firing line because he was in it for a lot of the season, to be honest with you. And so I feel like they've done a good decision to get him out of the firing line. But also they need to step up as well. If they don't want to sell the club, which we obviously feel they're going to, putting in £100 million into the club is not going to do anything.
it's nothing.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's their best interest as a business to then put more than, well, say 300 million to the club, because Premiership and everything. Because like if you look at the trajectory of United and Spurs, who would you want to buy? United, yes, they might be worth that, but I look at United. Old Trafford needs reconstruction. That's falling apart. That club is not the glory club as it was before. Whereas Spurs, it's in North London. You have all the facilities, and I'm talking about NFL games as well. Talking about the concerts as well that Daniel Levy was getting ripped apart from, but the revenue stream. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not 8 million or 8 billion, but I think 4, 6 with everything. And then if you're talking about Premiership titles, Champions League, it's a hotspot.
Can I pivot backwards for 1 second and ask that question again? Who here in the panel thinks Levy knew he was about to be sacked, or was it the other way around where Levy was shocked and he was forced out?
I think. Sorry.
Go on.
I think Levy knew that there was going to be a new era, and he wanted to be a part of it.
So obviously he was in charge of a lot of transfers. Do you know what I'm saying? He was overseeing a lot of transfers. Does anyone think then, if he knew he was on his way out, and knowing how he is, being a very prideful man, saying, "Look, this club only successful."
Why did we get the best window ever?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
do you know what I'm trying to say? He could have been jeopardizing deals, no? If he knew,
I think when they brought in Vinay, Ash, and then they brought in obviously Lang early, I feel like he knew where he was going. He was probably surprised that they'd done it so early, but I feel like he knew. And by the way, he was the only chairman in Premier League history to pay himself £13 million as a chairman. So, like, also the Joe Lewis family must be sitting there thinking, "Hold on a minute, we're paying you £13.5 million a year, and actually you're just in the middle of the firing line. You're not doing correct deals. You know, you don't want to, let's say, show the correct intent like other Premier League teams are." So I feel like he knew it was coming, but it's just a shock when it actually comes.
I have a different view in the sense of I don't think he knew. I think he had an idea that there was going to be a change of the guard, right? I think, you know, the fact that they brought in Charrington this year, the fact that they let go of the lady on the board that was his long-standing that's it, the friend. But if you really go back in the timeline when Vinay came, everyone raves about how Vinay is such a great communicator and, you know, the PR side and bringing fans together. Now, can someone explain to me why, if he knew that this was not going to he was going to let go literally straight after the transfer window, why would he say in that video of him and Levy where they nearly kissed each other, right? Why did he say then that, Levy and I are going to be running the club and nothing will be going past Levy that doesn't come through me?
Their red wine and their matching suits. Don't forget that.
So are you going to sit there and tell me that you trust Vinay and everything that he is a part of considering? And for me, I'm going to throw this out there, he's ex-Arsenal.
No, 100%. But Marlon, right? Just think about it. We've had a PR disaster for years on end, right?
Yeah, but they know they can throw Daniel Levy under the bus.
Yeah.
They knew it. Vinay knows it. And for me, Vinay lied yesterday. He knew full well when he came in, he wasn't going to be working with Daniel for that long. Yeah, because if behind the scenes, Daniel would have known. And I felt like the only thing that we heard about Daniel in this transfer window where he was involved was Eze. Morgan Gibbs-White, apparently, you know, when you hear about it, had nothing really to do with him. We literally we hit the release clause. Has nothing to do with Levy that it messed up. It was more
that
to
was
do
Lang.
with Marinakis.
That was
Yeah, Lang. So for me, you got to look at the whole situation here and go, are we going to sit here and trust Enoch, considering we just literally threw Daniel Levy under the bus for years, and this is the same Enoch that have changed everything and done it slowly. They knew full well the timing of it just before the end of the transfer window. Come on, this is Vinay. This is how they work. I'm sorry, but I don't trust Vinay as far as I can throw him.
I don't know. Like from my perspective, I just think for a club that our communication has been so bad and so poor, why put yourself in a limelight again by saying something whereby you're going to lie to the people and then you're going to get cast out in the first
because it doesn't make Vinay and them look bad. Where like I'm saying this, but most people eating up every word that Vinay's said for the last couple of months, and that's what's because all of us hate Levy that much that we wanted him gone. So anything that they do, they knew they could throw him under the bus. But let me ask you this: Gary Neville's interview. Why the hell did they do? Why the hell would he do that? At all the years, why now?
Because Vinay is coming. So, well, when I say Vinay, but by the way, I'm not glazing over at these people, right? I'm just saying based on what people are saying, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, he's the communicator. He's bringing communication. I've been watching a lot of these streams, right? Everyone is like, yeah, he's coming in. This is what he did with Arsenal. Now he's come to Spurs. He's gonna do X. He's gonna do Y. So, every single time there was any conversation whereby Levy came out or whether Levy and Vinay came out, it was, Vinay is bringing this communication in. Like, to me, basically, the point I'm trying to make, Marlon, right, is that based on a lot of things that I've been watching and people's theory, what it sounds to me like is that, yes, Levy knew he was going to be out the door at some point. I don't think he knew he was going to be out the door last week. And the point that someone made, I think it was either Connor from Levynomics, the Connor guy from Levynomics, right? And he was making a very good point because obviously Levy has been spearheading all the negotiations in relation to a takeover. And everything we've heard in the past was that Levy, in whatever form this takeover was going to be, that Levy wanted to stay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So is there a case to point out that maybe he was underhandedly trying to get himself into a position where either he had shares in a new venture, whatever it is, get more power, and then they literally looked at it and were like, you know what, you are being underhanded. Goodbye. I don't know. Obviously, it's just speculation. I don't know. I'm not an
think he knew when
ITK.
Cullen left. Because the rumor when Cullen left, everyone said that Levy was next.
Yeah.
Just didn't know when. So I'm going to sit there and say he knew. And that's why the interviews came out. That's why we started to see Levy a lot more front and center, because they were trying to make him out to be this guy that we kind of all we had this perception of him, but he wanted to put out this thing to say, this is not Levy, he works hard, he does this, he does that, and try and make him leave on a good note. But everyone was going to be celebrating in the Spurs community, like 98% of us were celebrating. But he knew, from when Cullen left, I'm going to sit there and tell you, it's not going to be just underhandedly overnight. This takes time. It's never going to be that. And I think that's where the issue comes into for me. I think he knew.
Marlon, so the last point, Marlon, then on that one last point, right? So again, widely reported, Paratici is coming back. Paratici is going to be director of football by October the 1st.
Good point.
It has been agreed. This is by, I'm not talking about, on the show. This is Fabrizio Romano. This is TalkSport. This is all these on-scene, in the know guys, right? Saying that the guy is coming. It has been agreed starting on the 1st of October. And now we're hearing, actually, because Levy is going, so this is highly uncertain. So if he knew that he was leaving and it wasn't underhanded, why did he agree for Paratici to come back, knowing fully well that he was not going to be a Vinay guy?
Okay, but Paratici's never signed that contract. And why 1st of October? Paratici's ban was up how many weeks ago. So why 1st of October? Because the
Maybe he
board and
has a
everyone knew.
consulting contract
No,
up until
because
the 1st of
again,
October.
this is where Vinay is pulling the walls over your eyes, because that's why they've said the 1st of October. This is the comms guy.
Wait, here. Marlon, you ready hating another chairman already? Is it going to be Vinny out?
No,
already?
I think the opening
The guy's done 2 interviews and you're already going against him. Marlon with the banners, profit before glory, get Vinny out.
Marlon don't like him because he's Arsenal. That's the reason why.
That's my big thing. I can't believe we're all accepting this guy who's come from Arsenal. And I've seen what he's done for Arsenal, and Arsenal fans are 50-50 on him as well. He's great at communicating with the fans and whatnot, but actually when you go and look at the deep dive of what Arsenal wanted from him, then a lot of them don't like him.
But Marlon, we can't choose another scapegoat. We can't keep.
No, not choosing a scapegoat. But I'm just saying.
Only Spurs can hire.
But
get rid of a guy everyone hates.
No, I'm not saying get rid of him. But I don't like the way that everyone's eating up every word and not looking.
No. We can't.
By the way, Marlon, we brought in the chief marketing officer from Arsenal as well. So I think.
To be fair, it was actually quite a good transfer window for us. So it
was a brilliant transfer window for us.
Until he starts moving differently, we can't be on his back. And I know that interview really griped you, clearly.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. If you're clever enough, you can see through a lot of the crap that he was speaking anyway.
And that's but I don't think a lot of people will do. I think a lot of people did eat because the hatred for Levy was so much, and even I was there too. But I'm not going to sit there and go, you know what's coming out. I'm going to listen to some of the bullshit and go, actually, I don't want to. I've heard bullshit for the last 25 years. I don't need another person coming out with thing, and that's why I go back to the whole Cullen and parity. Why the 1st of October? That's because they knew they weren't going to pull it through.
Marlon.
And they said, you got to remember, Romano and all that, who sends the feeders to all these people?
Of course.
And Fabrizio Romano got half the things, 98% of Tottenham this wrong.
He's a fraud.
Yeah, it was only Ornstein.
On Instagram.
Yeah. And Romano came out recently, and all it does, right? The things that he comes out with is what players tell him. They DM him and tell him, so he can push moves for these people.
Correct.
He's doing them a favor.
I don't disagree, right? And I'm definitely, first and foremost, I've never really been in the hate Levy at all cost camp because I've always been very from my perspective, I've always been like, listen, I always understood that obviously there are certain mitigating circumstances on things, but I also understood when people were like, why is this guy not stretching himself, right? So I put those two things in different buckets. And with Vinay, it's going to be the same thing. From my perspective, this transfer window, like Andy said, the quality and the caliber of players that we've gone for throughout the window has been something totally different to
very
what we've
unlike
done
anything Levy has ever produced, if I'm being honest.
Exactly. So from my perspective is show prove what you're saying. Yeah. Prove yourself right in what you're saying. Even I know we'll get to that even in the last interview, but this is not conflating 2 points. I'm purely focusing on whether Levy knew he was going that quick. That's all I'm trying to understand. But yeah, fair play.
I think the only thing's guaranteed is that Marlon hates Levy as much as I hate Marinakis.
Don't get me started on that guy. I hate her.
I think it's like,
go on.
Now I was going to ask, do you not think that Levy became almost bigger than a club? Does anyone feel like his name kind of overtook what Spurs were? Because every time we were linked, even when we won the Europa Cup, it still came back to Levy, if that makes sense, where the hatred was still there. There were still protests and murmurs of protests afterwards.
And
you know what I mean?
Just to add on to what Ash is saying, because why he's probably coming out asking this question is, who's the only chairman that was ever shown on TV during games?
Well, it's not Levy because, that's it though, because, and I think I said this a couple of weeks ago, and again, I'm not defending, I'm just giving a perspective of like a football fan. If I was just a football fan watching Spurs, I'd be like, right, so that's the villain. Every Sky Sports knew it, ex-managers knew it, players knew it.
Yeah.
You pin everything on him. Spurs, because they only showed Daniel Levy when Spurs were losing. There's the guy. There's the one you blame. Get the reaction. The protests outside. The media loved it. Media looked. Daniel Levy was a pantomime, and I've said this before because I can't remember. Like, it was in Talk Sport. I think it was after Daniel Levy sacked. It's like, right, if Spurs was to get a takeover, can you imagine the powerhouse they would be?
Yeah.
I think that I have this weird conspiracy theory that the powers of be at the Premiership, they can't touch Spurs. Look what they did with Chelsea. Roman, you're gone. You're Russian. Give us money. That kind of thing. But you can't touch Spurs. You can't take them to court over financial play. You can't charge them with anything. And that's the thing. Spurs are such a financial, well-based club, and they've done it the right way under Levy. Yes, Daniel Levy will be called stingy. Yes, he'll be doing that. But he's done things the right way. And if you want to do things the right way, you're going to piss a lot of people outside off. And you got to be able to, seeing a guy getting booed by 30,000 people, his wife having to touch his hand, just to say, I'm here for you. And then he comes back the next week and does it again.
Can I add something? Sorry, Orin, can I add something? I'm not going to mention any names, right? But anyone that knows me knows that there's somebody that I know from the Levy family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to say the person, but I asked the question to this person who's directly in the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would Levy stay at Spurs and take all of this hate? Okay, it's very simple, right?
Yeah.
And she said, you know what? There is a bit of stubbornness there where he wants to prove everybody wrong, right? And that statement alone says a lot to me because this has been happening for years. I want to prove everybody wrong because I was simply saying, the person was saying, look, he's been getting death threats to his house. By the way, he lives 2 roads away from me and he's just moved a week and a half ago. Okay, so I knew that he was going to leave at some point because there was murmurs around this. So now, when I said, so why does he take all of this death threats to his house, to his family? And he said, when you get that much hate, it's about proving people wrong. So he's very stubborn. And I think that stubbornness killed him at Spurs, if I'm being honest with you. And I say that about, oh, well, I've fouled this window. We'll get it right next window. And then you foul the next window and everyone's on your back. And it's, no, actually, I've taken this club financially forward. But I can take them forward to winning things. And then when we won Europa League, it was kind of a little bit like, well, see, I told you I can take us forward to winning a cup. And I just don't think the Lewis family bought it. But Daniel Levy's been stubborn year after year after year. Him leaving the club now allows us to move on without that, like you said, Oren, that pantomime villain.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of a situation where the Lewis family probably have issues with the Levy family. But if I'm being honest with you, the decision to get him as that pantomime was probably key for then us either selling the club or moving forward.
Did you think Enoch looked at the protests and the noise from Talksport and whatnot and said,
100%?
Here's the thing:
they see everything. They see everything.
Or do you think it was like an organized, like from like a couple years back where they were?
It's weird, but it's weird that they used it in their statement.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking that's what I'm saying. I think Enoch. That's the thing, though. The only way Enoch can stop getting because it wasn't Daniel Levy out, it was Enoch and Daniel Levy.
Yeah, that's correct.
So basically, they have to prove the company, whoever is in charge, have to prove that it was Daniel Levy. So they have to invest into the club. That's the only way they can go. They cannot bring a new guy in and go, oh, let's butter up the fans here. Look, guys, they have to invest in the club. That's the only other option. So in a way, by them removing Daniel Levy, they've put themselves into one situation. They could have kept them there and go, you keep doing what you're doing. But now this family, whoever is taking over, who is ever coming in, that's one thing. They have to invest. And not just 100 million. You're talking about 300 million and get the top players' wages, everything.
Oren, do you think Levy was the one behind? Because obviously he gets credit for the stadium. Was he the one behind the hotel and the apartments behind that as well?
Of course.
I've said...
There was a time when we injected like 150 million into the club. Do you remember that?
No, Enoch did that. Yes.
Yeah, but then the whole money wasn't spent. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it was like we spent some of that money on transfers, and then we just didn't know what happened to the rest of it. And remember, then Kane got sold,
Yeah.
And then it was like, all right, cool. So what we doing with that extra 50 million that was injected? Because we spent like 100 of it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
So I think I've always sorry. I think that Daniel Levy has done the job he was brought in to do, to make Spurs financially, marketability, and everything else, which he's done. He was never there to do the pitch things. He's a football fan. He supports Spurs, but he's not a coach. He's not a manager. He's not going to do that. So yes, the philosophy is right. We have to get players in, but the thing is as well is that, like I said with the pantomime, is that two clubs, and any club. I mean, Marlon was talking about it with Crystal Palace. I don't like Daniel Levy, so let's make this personal, because the Crystal Palace chairman's not going to get fault. He's a good guy. It's going to be that Daniel Levy guy who's going to get his hard negotiation. But that's the thing. It's like it takes two to tango. And yeah,
But
Daniel
what's that
Levy.
got to do with Enoch injecting cash and that whole amount not being spent? That's what I'm
Yes,
trying to
but
get at.
but think about it. That was how much? 200 million.
150 million.
That's nothing. Like,
yeah, but 100 got spent. Where did the other 50? Because remember, Daniel's in charge of
I
running
think, I
the
think
transfer.
the 50 wasn't
honest,
drawn though,
if
isn't
I'm
it?
being honest, probably towards transfers, because it was a very unlike Spurs transfer window. So I feel like we heard from at the start of the transfer window that Qataris were going to sponsor Spurs and they were going to give us 300 million initially. When we spent 184 million, it was a bit like, oh, where's this money come from? And then Enoch turned around and said, yeah, we're pumping money into the club. I wouldn't believe it. I still believe there's a takeover very, very close. I still believe that the money's coming from somewhere else. Now, Enoch haven't put in hardly any money in 30 years of owning the club.
Yeah.
So why all of a sudden are we believing that Enoch have just put in 300 million or 200 million or another 150 million for the hotel? I don't buy it. I think it's very, very simple. I think a year ago, it came out that the Enoch family were going to do a complete overhaul of the situation and management at Tottenham. That obviously includes Daniel Levy as well. When they realised actually financially we could be doing a lot better by taking away Daniel Levy taking 13 million dividends and this and that. I think it was a clever decision to get rid of him. But also, if you're going to invest at that length at 300 million, then you're obviously there to stay. I don't believe that Enoch have invested this money. I believe this is coming from sponsorships and part takeovers. So we're hearing obviously 10, 15.
Does anybody think that? Does anybody think that what's probably going to happen and what we'll see slowly down the line is that Daniel Levy will sell his shares, and that's how the start of the takeover will start
100%.
becoming?
100%. It'll be a part.
Why would he want to sell his shares?
20,
If
30%.
if he's being forced out, is that what we think, that he's being forced
No.
out?
He's been forced out of chairman position, and the reason why he's been
he's
forced
still
out
a
of chairman
shareholder.
is because when a new owner comes in, with all due respect, without being racial here, if it's a Qatari owner or a Saudi owner, they're not going to want a Jew as a chairman. I can assure you that. So let's be really honest about the situation. We're a Jewish-run club. You know, the owners are Jewish, but if the Qataris and the Arabs come in, that's why they've removed that positioning from chairman, in my opinion, and it allows someone like Carrington, who's a non-executive chairman, so he's not in the day-to-day dealings of the club. So when a new chairman comes, he becomes the big don. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Whereas,
So do you think Levy was blocking then? He was blocking
100%
takeovers.
Levy there. You know, let's say I want to buy the club. Okay, I'm an Arab. I want to buy the club. I turn around and say, well, Daniel Levy is not staying on as chairman. Daniel Levy said that he wants to stay
because they've got their own men. They've got their own people that they want to bring in
for a sale for the club. So if you're putting on the smart money, you're going to say, okay, cool. Maybe it's an Arab owner who's going to come and take the club, and they don't want Levy as a chairman. So therefore, let's leave that chairman position open. So when the takeover comes and they get, let's say, 30% of, which is what Levy's shares are, they become part shareholder. The Enoch are still involved, but they become the part shareholder. So it just opens many, many doors, let's say, for the new ownership. I'm really sorry, but I don't believe that Enoch are here to pump 300-400 million into club every year, like, let's say, the Arsenal or the Chelsea owners. They're not going to do that.
So in the immediate future, what do you anticipate happening? Because we've got a January window coming and a summer window.
Yeah.
So do you expect them to still be here by the end of the summer window, or do you think they're going to be gone
I believe by next summer's window, we'll have new owners, in my opinion. They're never going to announce anything during a transfer window, because they know prices for players triples if Spurs are taken over by, let's say, an Arab consortium or Saudis. So they're not going to do that. But there will be a point that comes where we do get taken over, probably, I would say, mid-season before that summer transfer window. And then it's all going to make sense to us. But if we're going to believe that ENIC are now going to throw in 300 million into the club in the next 2 years, I think we're in cuckoo land a little bit. They've done that.
So when Vivian came out, and obviously Charles is involved as well, they were like, the vision is that we want to run things a bit different to how Joe run it. And then obviously the narrative is that you had Joe, not Joe, sorry, you had Levy's son. What's Levy's son's name?
Charles. Charles?
Is it Charles? Yeah. So Levy's son, Arsenal fan as well, he basically still owns shares of Tavistock, innit?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And Kroenke's similar story, innit? Kroenke Senior, they didn't invest a lot into the club. He left. And then it's like Kroenke Junior, the son, they're the ones that pump money into the club. There's a narrative where there could be a new, like, Daddy, you did it wrong. Let me run it. Do you understand? And Daddy's like on an oxygen mask.
But I do think
breathing.
I do think, though, Ash, that the ENIC will stay for at least a year or two. So it's not going to be a full-blown takeover. I don't think it's going to be a full-blown takeover within, let's say, a year. What I think is they'll take Levy shares. They'll buy Levy out at 29.9%. They'll become the minor shareholder. And obviously, ENIC still keeps the majority. But I think the deal is going to be that, okay, you can come in as a shareholder of 30%, but you're going to have to pump X amount of money into it. And that also allows...
Like a Jim Ratcliffe kind of scenario.
Like a Redcliffe. That also allows ENIC and the new owners to kind of work together, which halves kind of what they need to both pay.
I don't like the name of Radcliffe. Radcliffe doesn't fill me with
but Radcliffe is doing...
To be fair to Radcliffe, he's come into a shit show. To be fair to him, I don't actually, my dad's Man United fan. I was talking to him about it, and I said at the end of the day, I don't solely blame him. If he comes into a shit show and then the financial lawyers are telling them, oh, by the way, we're going to go broke in January, there's certain things that have got to happen to stop that. So I don't really blame Radcliffe too much.
I know Radcliffe's doing exactly what Daniel Levy's done for the last 25 years, but he had to do it in a shorter window. And Man United fans were not happy about that. And it's just like, well, you want the club to make money.
Exactly.
What do you want?
So I think, like, going back to that, I do think the new owner will be, or the minority owner will be taking Levy shares, and ENIC will slowly kind of like sell their shares bit by bit.
What is there a scenario though? If like all of a sudden ENIC come and they start doing the mad thing, they start buying up players. All of a sudden we start going on like a mad run, like like back when Redknapp was around, we start going on the title. I'm not saying we're going to do it.
Ash, you're dreaming already, mate. You're dreaming already.
It depends. It actually goes back to what Oren said, though.
But I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there. What if?
No, it goes back to what Oren said, because if they're looking to sell the club, the only reason why they would go on a mad thing like that, where they'd probably go, actually, let's invest in this team, is because everyone has always said we're worth 3 billion without football team.
Yeah.
Now imagine if you go and start winning FA Cup, League Cups. Forget the league for a second. You start winning the other trophies, and you start becoming successful in the football side. You become a more marketable investment. Be like, hold on, there's not actually much we have to pump into this club. We can buy.
Yeah, but what if the fans start getting behind ENIC? Like, ENIC. Like,
if you think about it, if the only way to win is to spend money, it's very, very simple.
It's true.
Look, not that I believe this is going to happen, but if ENIC do pump in an absolute load of money and do a madness, we're all going to be on ENIC's side, of course, because we deserve.
It's not about the money, though, is it? If we're being honest.
But if we are being honest about ENIC, what gives us the impression? And also, the other question I'll say is, what's going to motivate them this summer to do that?
Because it's the family name.
One reason.
The family name's being
but the family name's been tarnished for 25 years.
Exactly. That's Joe Lewis. So basically, if you have to take into consideration the mental state of the mental capacity of these kids, because they've sat back and watched that. It's like we've all done it. We all have parents. Dad, you're doing it the wrong. You see, when I'm older, I'm going to raise my kids different. I'm going to build my house different. I'm going to do this different. I'm going to have a better car than you. I'm going to do this. So they're going to come in and do it. Now, I just think that, 200 million, 300 million, to them, it's not that much. and they're going to get that money back. You're right. ENIC has never invested before, but I'm uncertain, and I'm still trying to figure this out. Maybe one of you guys can help me in the comments or something. If Spurs get sold and they have the shareholders and everything else, then does ENIC think, right, if we make the club and we get the more money is better for us? It's all about football as a business now, whether we like it or not. As a business side of things, you have all that investment, and I'm talking about NFL games, concert, things like that. If you look at what Spurs is, Spurs technically, in a weird way, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is almost like the new Wembley. They're having so much things happening in that ground. So I just think it's better for ENIC to come in and say, right, the ENIC name has been tarnished and brandished. All we have to do for the next 2 years, or which is what, 4 transfer time, is invest 300 million, because we're going to get that money back. It's not like, they're not going to get money back. Then sell it. So I'm not saying ENIC won't sell the club eventually. I just think we sell it now for this amount, or we go for an extra billion, because an extra billion is more than more than 300.
Yeah, but an extra billion is very unrealistic when you're not really winning the Premier League or the Champions League.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, yes, but we're going off the status of
going to give us an extra billion. So I mean,
we're going off the status
I
of.
don't see the motivation for ENIC to turn around.
You might not see the motivation, but that's you. They, as a business, will go, if we invest, we can do it. Chelsea.
Yeah, but I could have told you that 15 years ago. So what was the reason for them not doing it 15 years?
Well, I'm trying to explain that to you, because it was Joe Lewis and Daniel Levy. It wasn't the family. It wasn't the new generation of kids. They didn't have a say. They were still going to college. They were still learning their trade. So that's why. And I'm sure they looked at Joe Lewis or...
Going to college, they're in their 60s.
you know what I mean, though. Not college, but they didn't have a say because Joe Lewis and Daniel Levy was there. So now it's... They can put themselves in the family tradition of, we were the one who invested. Because what I've also read about the Lewis family, it's not... They support Spurs. They're a generation of Spurs supporters.
Oh, they do, yeah.
So basically, it's... Now, I'm not saying that you're wrong. You could be absolutely 100% right.
Yeah.
Completely. But what I'm saying is the fact that I just don't see the point of doing all of this, having this brand new clean air, just to go back to the same thing. Because it'll only take 3 months.
I agree.
After the Johnny Charles player, for people to protest against ENIC.
Which is the reason why
also,
I think
can I also say, right, that
money coming from somewhere else, in person.
But can I also say, right, that if they wanted the same of the old, they would have just kept Levy in. Like, Levy is a shareholder's dream, right? So he's picked up a business who and then just made it 15, 20, 30 times what it was worth. It's made it a cash generating machine, right? Exactly. So there is absolutely no reason, if there wasn't a change, which is where I do agree with Andy there, right, on part of it. If there wasn't going to be a change, they wouldn't have made all the changes, like dressing up the board, making it more credible, putting a non-executive chairman who used to be the head of City, like all these things they wouldn't have done, right? However, I personally, the way things are coming out, right? And we've already known that they've been looking for a minority, someone to put in to buy a minority share of it, right? I'm more leaning towards that being a more plausible situation whereby they're able to sell out a certain amount of shares and then at the same time get the cash that comes in with it.
Exactly.
And also you obviously need to remember, right, the cash is not necessarily right. Okay, cool. They've pumped in 100 million this summer, and the 100 million is what is going to be used as we need 60 million pounds worth of a player, so we're going to use the 100 million to pay for it. That's not really what is there for. That the cash is purely to be able to uphold the cash commitments that we have for different summers. So as an example, we could have 20 million, 30 million worth of installments, transfer installments. Yeah. But when we go and buy a player, that player, from an accounting perspective, if we buy a 60 million player, that 60 million doesn't hit our account for that year. That 60 million gets amortized.
Wait. So Manny, just on that, sorry to cut you. Do you think we are going to spend 100 million or roughly around that figure in January? Because that's what they've
In
come out.
January, I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I think in January we've got this one target that we didn't get in the summer, and I know people are gonna laugh, right? But that left winger that we didn't get in the summer is our target.
Yeah,
That is probably gonna cost us, 60, 70 million, and that is what they're going to try and get in January. But that's it. The point that I will judge this new formed ownership will be next summer, because next summer, is it going to be the same thing that we've always had, like the Levynomics, wait until the last minute, haggling over the 2 million, 3 million, which really and truly, had you just paid it, and if we go one more not point, one more level in the table, we could make that 3 million over. Like, those little things are what I will be looking at to make sure I convince myself that these guys are really, really in for the betterment of Spurs, rather than just, oh, right, you know what, let's get Levy out of the club, the heat goes out, and then we start
I hear
doing-
your opinion, though, Manny, but do you think fans will give patience to the January window if we don't get Savinho over the line? Do you think fans will be, well, maybe, summer, like how you're saying we should give it till summer? Or do you think fans will kick off right off the bat? If things will happen.
They'll kick off. We know Spurs fans. They're gonna kick off, because they're gonna want. Even if we get Savinho, they'll kick off, because they're gonna want our 3 players. I'm telling you, man. You watch.
Need a
They're
partner.
gonna want 3,
Yeah,
4
what's the
players
big,
in
like-
January.
To be fair, in terms of this transfer window, it wasn't. I know that we had a lot of deals that fell through, but if you actually look at how the transfer window went, we went very, very quickly for Kudus. We got that over the line early doors. We tried to get Morgan Gibbs-White over early doors, and unfortunately, we got a clown in charge that was Lang, and messed up the whole deal because he didn't.
That wasn't him.
Let's talk about Lang. I want to talk about Lang.
No, I tell you,
It wasn't about Lang. No.
the absolute clown didn't even look at the clause.
He's still going to be in here in
did.
January and summer. So,
Is he though?
It doesn't matter.
he?
It doesn't matter. It's multiple reports have came out and said that Spurs called Nottingham Forest and said we know the release clause. We're going to put that to you.
Yeah.
Then we're going to make the offer before the public. Nottingham Forest then rejected it. Spurs then made a call again and said we're going to pay you 65 million. It was nothing to do with Spurs. It was everything to do with the Nottingham Forest chairman.
The actual release clause was 60.4 million. Spurs knew that because of the agent of Morgan Gibbs-White. That's the only reason.
Right,
why.
yes, okay. But they came back and...
So at 60.4 million, they thought that was the only clause in the contract, which it wasn't. There was 3 different stipulations.
Yes, but they couldn't... But what I'm trying to tell you is, even if that was a deal, even if Nottingham Forest was never going to accept that.
But if you stipulate to all 3 clauses, Nottingham Forest don't have a choice. It's very, very simple. That's the way it works. When you hit a release clause and you activate to all of those 3 clauses in the contract, they knew one of them, 60.4 million.
Right, yeah.
They didn't realise that there was 2 more in there. So when they've gone to Nottingham Forest and said, we're sending you a bid of 60.4 million, Marinakis has turned around and said, hold on a minute, how do you know that figure, number 1? Because it's meant to be an enclosed figure. Number 2, we are going to decline this offer because you haven't hit the other stipulations of the contract. That's down to Lang. I'm not
sure that was never said, though, because what the report said is Nottingham Forest is that how they felt that it was a legal approach from Spurs.
Yeah, because they didn't
say it was out of 3.
They didn't hit all 3 stipulations. Then they wanted.
But no, we're already focusing on one here. Like, it's because Nottingham Forest could have gone, right, okay, that's one of them, but there is more.
Correct.
How did you find this out? But they didn't.
There was 3.
Yes, I know, but they didn't. Nottingham Forest didn't say the other 2. They just went, you've made an illegal approach.
Of course.
And that was it. So maybe what Spurs were hoping for was going, right, okay, so how much do you want?
But who messed that up?
The Nottingham Forest chairman said, no, we're not going to sell him.
What I'm saying is, who messed the deal up? Because it wasn't leaving.
He says Forest.
It was Nottingham Forest. I'm saying Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest rejected it. Nottingham Forest could have came back. Nottingham Forest could have came back with a counter offer, but they didn't. They basically said no. And what we're going to do, if you make any contact, they
asked for £10 million compensation. Then they would sell Morgan Gibbs-White to us. They wanted the release.
So where do you get this news from?
No, it's a fact. It's a fact. I know.
Just because you said this. No. How do you know? Because so you're telling me that you know something that Sky Sports,
I'm telling you, the release
media outlet reported.
you're turning around and saying, "Oh, well, they wanted 65." You're incorrect.
No, I'm not saying that. No, I didn't say that. You're not listening to me.
It's
I
very,
said
very
you're not
simple.
listening to me.
No, but you're not.
Let me speak. Let me speak. Let me finish.
0.4
Look,
million.
let me finish. No, what I said was Spurs called Tottenham Forest and said, "We've heard this contract, 60 million. That's reports,
Yep.
Wiley reports. It was declined. They then called back again and said, "We're going to give you 65 million," and
No.
that fine.
Wrong.
What do you mean wrong? So you're right. You singularly you're right in every single media outlet.
No. The media
Not
outlets,
chairman came out.
including David Ornstein, said that the clause was 60.4 million, but there was 3 stipulations that Spurs did not hit the clause correctly.
But what? Okay, so why did what
Then,
did Nottingham Forest?
Wait. I'll let you talk. One
No,
second.
you didn't. You were interrupting me, same as I'm doing that now. So what did
you talk?
What did Nottingham Forest do to Spurs to stop any contact between Spurs and the player?
They're allowed to stop contact if you don't.
No, what did they do? What did they do?
You're not listening.
What did they threaten Spurs with?
Legal action.
Right.
That's
enough. That's it.
Wait. No, it's not it. It's not it.
That is it.
Did they put a complaint into the FA? Did they create that legal action?
No, they threatened
No,
it though,
correct.
because the only reason they didn't is because Morgan Gibbs White and Spurs refused to come in to link with each other again. That's why.
Yeah, I don't know where you get your information. It's very, very
I
simple.
get the information from Sky Sports, every single media outlet that covered it.
Sky Sports have been wrong about everything this summer, by the way.
Everything this summer. So they're wrong about Daniel Levy leaving.
Well, that was broken late from Sky Sports. It's like 4 hours later.
But no, you're saying they've been wrong about everything. But they haven't been wrong about everything, have they?
Sky Sports are the last ones to put anything out. The last.
Well, of course they're the last ones because they want to make sure it's truthful.
On,
and they're the last thing they were putting out.
Let's not use Sky Sports as a.
Let Manny comment.
How can you say you know everything?
It's very, very simple. The clause was 60.4 million. I just want you to understand something, before you get, because you're getting a little bit upset. I don't really.
No, you're getting upset. It's just
I'm not getting upset.
I don't.
It's
just like
simple. It's very simple.
You're blaming. You're always looking to blame someone.
I'm not. No.
You're blaming Lang. You said Lang made a mistake, and I'm saying no, that's not the case.
100%. By the way, it's also Lang's fault for Eze because he allowed Crystal Palace 4 days for him to play his final match. And then what happened? What did Arsenal do?
I thought Daniel Levy was in charge of that.
No, Levy wasn't in charge.
Levy was in charge of the Eze
You're
one.
wrong again.
No.
I think you find out that Andrew doesn't like Lang. I think that's what we find out.
Levy was part. Levy was
Marinakis.
You know what I'm saying? You see what I mean, right?
Can I interject? Can I interject, guys? Can I say something for 2
Go on,
seconds?
Manny. Speak up.
Can I say something? This is my understanding on two of the issues, right? On the Morgan Gibbs White, we received a cease and desist, right? A threat of legal action,
Correct,
because of breach of contract, right?
Correct.
So my understanding from that situation was that obviously, like we're in 2025, right? Intermediaries, agents, etc., just speak to everybody at all times. From my understanding, what happened is that we were provided with a certain level of information about his release clause, right? We went into them and then tried to trigger the release clause, but actually didn't hit the right criteria in those release clauses, right? So that is what spooked them straight away and said, "Hold on a second, you seem to know about a release clause which is under NDA." Now I got people saying to me, "Oh, but all release clauses are under NDA." No. With this specific release clause, the part which was under NDA was the figure and the structure, right? Which we then tried to trigger, but they spooked them straight away, and they were like, "Absolutely not, because you've tried to trigger something that you should not know about." So, from my perspective, in that instance, I think, this is just my opinion, right? Spurs were very naive to go in and then just decide, not without having any conversation. Because if you guys remember, we hit Kudus. Straight away, it was like, right, Spurs have hit the release clause. That's it, done, right? So not speaking to Nottingham Forest was naive from our side. However, I do have a certain level of sympathy, because I'm thinking, well, if an agent has come to us in good faith and said, these are the various levers that you need to pull to hit the release clause, you would think that we would go in and do the same thing. But obviously, in my opinion, they threatened the whoever the agent is, whether it's the agent, the player, wherever it is, that
exactly
we
what
know
happened.
that
They
you've
threatened Morgan
released
Gibbs.
this, right?
Mhm,
Exactly.
mhm,
We
mhm.
know that you've disclosed this when you shouldn't have.
Correct.
So you sign over this dotted line. We're going to give you the pay rise that you want.
Correct.
It's a win-win. We're not going to take this legally, and then we got, and that is what happened. Whereby Spurs were in the dark, and all of a sudden we heard, right, he signed a a new contract. That's my opinion based on the
Manny,
understanding.
that was literally the point I was saying, because but let's understand one thing. In terms of NDAs, the NDA was from Nottingham Forest to the player and his
Yeah,
agent.
correct.
The
Correct.
NDA is not towards Tottenham. So
No,
the
correct.
only people that are getting in trouble, which Nottingham Forest threatened to not only go to the FA but to sue Morgan Gibbs White's agent. So
Yeah,
this is the
correct.
reason why it got so messy. Now the suing, Nottingham Forest wanted a compensation for us to buy him of £10 million. Spurs refused that number. That's the point I'm making. And by the way, Levy was not involved into this deal. We can't blame Levy in this deal, and that's why I'm saying it's not. I'm not.
Boy Langa was. Your boy Langa was.
Lang was the man involved, center of this deal.
Hey, can we talk about Langa then? Can we say that?
Yeah, let's talk about him.
Sorry, can I say
talk
something about Langa? Right, I don't think he's going to get to January. To be completely honest,
That's what I wanted to ask.
Because
I wanted to ask.
the statement that came out, said, we've got this new vision forward with Vinay and Thomas Frank, and there was no mention of him. There was absolutely no mention of him, and I think he's going to be gone. I think he's not part of the
I don't
future.
think he's going to be gone.
My theory is if Fabio Paratici comes back, he's gone. That's my theory.
Well, Paratici ain't coming back. I think Lang stays. I think Lang stays.
In the same capacity, you reckon?
I think he goes more into, because what he's good at, what he's supposed to be good at, is the youth, and that's one thing that Spurs currently don't have. Yeah, okay, he's bought badly with some youth players, but Bergwell's been good.
So what, you think next summer we're doing a youth project again?
No, it'd be half and half.
You think Langa's going to come and buy senior players?
No, because so he might do, because I've always said this. How do we know what Lang? I've always said this. How do we know what Lang put in front of the table when he went to Daniel Levy? Because Daniel Levy
I hear it.
He's always said this.
By the way,
I hear
negotiation.
Marlon, he got sacked from Villa for the exact same issue.
Yeah. But Levy decided to employ him.
By the way, one of the main issues was getting players over the line, and Emery hated him. By the way, that's why.
But the problem is Daniel Levy came out in that interview with Gary Neville and said, "I do the negotiation." So I have to take that. That's what I'm going to take, because he's come out and said that. And when you look at what other people said in the past, that's what he does. Yeah. So what everyone has to do is then they go and bring the players to him, which he said they do, which Lang's probably done. Who do we know that? How do we know that Lang hasn't brought in players that other clubs haven't signed, and Daniel Levy hasn't got it over the line? Because it's Daniel Levy that does the negotiation, and I think this is where everyone falls. Because I think there was a scout on Talk Sport, and he said, if you knew the amount of players we put in front of the board and they just didn't negotiate the price for it, who's going to get the blame? We're all going to sit there and blame Lang, like what we're doing. So we don't know if Lang's actually bringing these players.
Money.
Are we saying that Levy took over the Xavi Simons deal and got it over the line then?
Possibly.
No, that's Fabio Paratici.
Listen, we have to be fair.
No.
That's Fabio Paratici written all over.
To be fair, the whole Xavi Simons, for me, sounded exactly like a Daniel Levy book 101.
It's a bargain.
Yeah, I agree.
It was an opportunity. Chelsea last minute realised they couldn't bring him in because of PSR and all that, because they needed more players that were homegrown and the quota. Because Xavi Simons, if you think about it, wouldn't have been able to make their Champions League squad, or someone else would have missed out.
Yeah,
that's why they had to get rid of Nicholas Jackson.
Yeah, it's true.
So for me, everyone's blaming Lange because they're thinking about the players they're bringing through. But I've always said this: we don't know what Lange is bringing to the table when it comes to these players, because the young players are more easier for Daniel Levy to negotiate because of where they got to come out of their club. But was it Lang that brought Kudos?
But Marlon, we got told.
Or was it Vinay?
But We got told that
I don't think it was
Langa
Vinay.
our chief negotiator. That's what we
Why don't you think it's Vinay? Why not?
It's not
Why can't it be
Vinay.
Vinay?
Because
No, wait, hold on.
definitely
Why can't it be Vinay?
Marlon hates Vinay. You don't
Why
understand
can it
this.
not be Vinay?
Why can't it be Lange?
Why
It
can't it
can't
be
be
Vinay?
Lange.
You just said
It
it can't be
can't be
Vinay.
Lange.
Why can't it be Lange? Because
Why can't it be
you
Vinay?
just said he tried to sign Morgan Gibbs White, so he's obviously got a
Yeah,
talent
how did
ID
that
there.
work out? How did that work out?
Yeah, because of Marinakis. We know we've just
You know,
told us
because
because
Vinay's got contact with Brady.
okay, but did he not go get Paulinho then?
No, not because of Marinakis. Because
No.
the idiot didn't realise the 3 stipulations of the clauses.
Yeah, but that's not his. But like you just said, he didn't know those clauses. He only knew about one.
Okay, but you got to do your due diligence and get all the clauses
But
in.
that's the thing.
But
Like,
that's the thing. Most clubs would have failed.
And by the way, the one thing we know for certain is that he was dealing with the Eze situation, and he gave Palace.
No. See,
Yes.
I know about the Eze situation.
No.
That Daniel
Okay,
Levy.
That was Levy. That was Levy.
Levy had to get involved at the end.
And you can't see that. I
4
know.
days. They gave him
I've
4
heard this
days
from
so he could play the Conference League game.
3 different sources. 3 different sources, Andy.
Okay,
3
I
different sources.
baby. I just say, baby.
They
Levy.
gave
It's all
him
Levy.
4 days. Who allows him to do that?
he can't
Yeah,
see
it's
me.
not Lange. It's not.
Andy,
Andy.
you know what? You know, I've seen a different side of Marlon with Vinay. You know, this is
What? Are we going to see the new Marlon? Like Marlon just didn't like Daniel Levy because he sacked Martin Yule. Vinny is an Arsenal person. Fucking hell.
Vinay out, you know.
Honestly, I'm going to tell you.
Vinny's probably going to get Sol Campbell back in the Spurs.
At least now I know, Ash. At least now I know. When he's prodded at me, I know what to bring up. Vinay's coming straight in. I'm telling you.
But no, the whole Eze situation, and it's been I wouldn't be blaming Levy if I hadn't heard it from 3 different
Hopefully it's a
places.
shit show.
But it was all Lange had nothing to do with it.
No, I disagree.
They took him out the firing line. They took him out the firing line because
they probably took him out the firing line. But to be honest with you, allowing any player or any club to play a Conference League game before you're just about to sign him and do a medical.
No, but yeah, you want to know what happened? But that's because Daniel would change the stipulations of what he agreed with Crystal Palace.
I heard that in the morning as well. Yeah,
that's the reason why they went.
Had it agreed, and then one morning he was like, actually,
don't get me started
because he wasn't meant to play against Chelsea.
Listen,
But here's the thing.
That's typical Daniel Levy, though, isn't it? Like,
here's the thing. When it comes to transfers,
go on.
we seem to forget that it takes 2 to tango.
Uh-oh.
There's 2 chairmans here talking. And basically what I heard is that Crystal Palace asked Daniel Levy if they did the same with Liverpool. Gahey, they stopped the Gahey transfer because they wanted a replacement.
Yeah.
So Crystal Palace said, right, we've agreed in principle, give us 30 million so we can get a replacement. And then remember, Crystal Palace was trying to go for the Leicester guy and someone else.
Yeah.
And then Arsenal Havertz got injured.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, because I wanted to bring this up. Remember in Sky Sports, it was on Twitter, the news reporters like Eze, this could be his last training session. He's on his way to Spurs. And Eze was like, give it a rest, will you? Eze knew. Eze was making calls to artists, please do something.
Yeah.
Because the way I look at it, right, and I know Daniel Levy gets his stick, and I know Lang will get his stick and all that, but the way I look at it is, and I'll use Pedro Porro as an example. Spurs agreed a fee with Sporting Lisbon. Everything was set. Pedro Porro was at the airport. Sporting Lisbon then called Spurs and went, we want more. Spurs went, what? But Pedro was the one who says, no, I've said goodbyes. I want to go.
Yeah.
So I just think about it. And I think it's the same. Like, if Eze really looked at Spurs and went, right, Arsenal didn't want me. The only reason they're having me is because Havertz is injured. But Spurs have showed, I want to go to Spurs to show my faith. So, because when it comes to Morgan Gibbs White as well, he was ready. Apparently, he told Nottingham Forest, I'm away to Spurs here. He's
wearing blue and white, isn't it?
Yeah, he even wrote a letter to Thomas Frank saying sorry.
He had a meeting at the Landmark Hotel with Lang and Vinay. Morgan Gibbs White was done. That was completely done.
And then
he had a blue and white boots, isn't it?
With the Eze, so Oren, with the Eze bit, I kind of do agree with you. He didn't. So he had agreed with Arsenal at the end of the season. Everything was agreed personal. The problem was Arsenal backed out after Wanyeri.
Correct.
Yeah, they backed out after Wanyeri. Now, if you listen to what Ian Wright said, because if you go and watch the overlap, Ian Wright said basically, because they were just chatting and they put it on, he basically said he was pretty much a Spurs player. He wanted Arsenal, he was pretty much a Spurs player. If he
said
actually
it
come
was
out and said, if it wasn't, because Ian Wright's obviously very close to Arsenal, he said if it wasn't for the Havertz injury, he said, because he's very religious, he said he just believes things happen for a reason. Havertz getting injured just literally triggered that.
He called up Arteta.
That's what I'm saying, Marlon, is
to push the move.
Even if, like, I understand the Hazard thing, but if Eze wanted to go, is like, look, guys, again, the only reason you're coming in for me now. So
I get it, but it's not. Yeah. But look. Unfortunately, no matter how we want to take it, Eze's a gooner. He wanted Arsenal, and that's where he wanted to go. I get it, but we had a 2-3 week run where no one, apart from Spurs, were in for Eze, and we messed. And before he played against Chelsea, everything was agreed.
That's
right. Daniel Levy, being Daniel Levy, changed something at the last minute, and what's his name? The chairman. Now he's playing the next day.
Marlon. To be fair, Eze calls up Arteta personally.
Yep. Yeah, but after Andy, you're not listening. That was after.
I know. I agree.
2 to 3 weeks. Just explain that.
I've already
2 to 3 weeks. My man was dragging his heels, and it took Havertz getting injured. We could have signed it long before Havertz got injured. That's what you're trying to do.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, even if Havertz didn't get injured, he still makes that phone call to Arteta.
How do you really want a player he wanted to play for?
He's an Arsenal fan.
No. He makes the phone call anyway, but what happens is Arteta picks up the phone and goes, "No, we can't sign you because we've got this X, Y, and Z."
The point everyone is missing, right, is the fact that they had at Arsenal. They had a board meeting on signing a player after Havertz got injured. That was what triggered that board meeting, right? Correct. Had we agreed everything and Eze picked up the phone call to call Arteta wouldn't have been able to do anything because at that time they didn't have room in that team. Or nothing would have pushed them to go and sign him, and I think that is the key. Is that that certain window that we could have signed him, that we didn't sign him, was because Levy was dilly-dally. Orin, on the point that you're making, like with regards to chairman, right? Their reputation precedes them. Everyone in the sporting world knows that the sporting chairman is an absolute pain to deal with, right? Everyone in the sporting world knows that. So what he was doing was in his nature, just the same way what Levy was doing, because he thinks, this is 2002, where it's like, oh yeah, my buddy from Palace, let's go into a meeting room. I was listening to Alan Padri on Talksport, right? And he was describing when we signed Darren Bent, right? And Levy, Levy's lawyers, the Charlton executive, and himself went to the hotel to negotiate. And Alan Padri was like, every single time an amount was offered, it was so low they would move out the room, go and discuss between each other, come back and say, Levy, listen, you have to up it. Levy will be upping it in such small increments that it made the whole thing such a painstaking
Manny,
I got one better, yeah. The Leon chairman said he had 2 hip replacements. He said he'd rather go through 2 hip replacements than go through doing a deal with Levy. Even Alex Ferguson said the blood fusion. He said he would prefer to take blood out of his own arm.
You know what? Here's a friend of mine. I met him in the shops, and he talked. It was when the news broke about Daniel Levy, and he's like, you know what? I would like Daniel Levy to be a negotiator. He will get me he would get me fucking deals. Like, you need a house, 100 million. Daniel Levy will get it for 50.
If I need the furniture in that house, he won't get nothing.
It flips the other way, innit? When you're trying to get something, if you send him to the shops to buy you something, see what I'm saying?
He'll come back with a shop.
Kane, remember what he did with Kane, getting 100 million for Kane in his last year. Was, when he's negotiating for you to bring something in,
that's what I mean.
He is really, that's really what good. You want, 100%. But when you're trying to get something over the line, again, like even if you look at the Xavi Simons, even if you look at the Xavi Simons deal, right? there was that specific moment when everyone knew Chelsea couldn't sign him, and we pounced. That's what we should be doing. I have no issue with the kind of deals, like with the kind of deals that we've been going for. It's more about, when the iron is hot, just strike. Don't
Simple.
wiggle
But
and
here's the
squabble
thing.
over 2-3 million. You know what I mean?
Do you think I understand all that. It's just like, again, though, if you're Eze, you're thinking, right, I'm second choice here. I wasn't Spurs' first choice. They wanted Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yeah, but
I'm the second choice.
Yeah, but Simmons was third choice.
Yeah, that's okay. Simmons joined the club.
okay.
He was okay with being the third choice. And let's be clear, like, Savinho was wanted was he probably wanted more than Eze? The only reason that didn't happen is because City flat out refused to sell him to Spurs. There was never ever going to be a thing, and they were kept trying. And I think, like,
I think they wanted the replacement of Rodrigo, Orin. I think that if they didn't get Rodrigo, they was never going to sell him to us, to be fair.
Yeah, and I think, like, what you got to realize as well, I know what I see as a Spurs fan is that clubs don't want to make Spurs stronger. I know we as or the fans, certain fans will look and say that player's shit, that player's shit, that player's shit. I would look at Richarlison, said he's not good enough. But, like, because I was saying when the Savinho thing is like, right, Spurs was just beating Man City. They do it every year. Why would Man City want to sell a player who's young to Spurs, especially in World Cup year? Because that's when all the Brazilians in the Premiership, they become world leaders.
Does anyone think, and big up to Hotspur 63, new subscriber, and he says, do you think what's going on is just a family squabble? But we kind of addressed that already. But I wanted to ask, does anyone think that Levy grabs his shares and he buys another club? Do you know what I'm saying? Or he gets the consortium, he gets enough people together and he says, yeah, you know what? I'm going to come.
Go down the road, Arsenal.
No, because obviously you lot just hyped up the way he sells players, and
have you seen how old he's got, Ash? Could you see how he stressed him out?
Financially, he's always been number one. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So financially, if you go to another club,
never ever
another cheaper club, or
he's a Spurs.
In France.
He loves Spurs. I don't think he's going to do that. He's family feuds. I don't think he does that.
The one thing that you have to, I think, even Levy supporters or don't like him, you have to give him credit. He's never, maybe he will, but I don't think he's never ever said a bad word about Spurs. No. I think he does care about Spurs. He's a fan of Spurs. And I remember reading the article when he first came in.
I question if he's an actual fan.
No, he's a fan of Spurs. Because
he goes back to the stadium to watch a few games.
I question it.
No, he's there all, and it's
you
like,
reckon he'll be here at West Ham, or
you see,
he'll come back at West Ham. Do you think he'll be
don't
there?
know. The thing is, Ash, why would you? Because you know you're going to get. The thing is, it's like,
it's different now. You're no longer in charge. You know what I'm saying?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's more on the wrong. And tell Vinny, give Vinny 2 years, and then he'll be safe against the likes of Marlon.
The reason why, and I know why you question me. The reason why is because he whenever you ask him about his first game at Spurs and some of the things,
I know.
He always changes his answer, and you're like, hold on. I'm sorry, if I ask anyone on this panel, let me know your first game at Spurs, it's not going to change. And then what doesn't help, like you all said earlier, his oldest is a gooner. I'm sorry.
I know, but that's a son. That's a son.
Mate,
again, that's like Marlon. That's like one of your child going, here, Dad. You support Spurs, don't you? I'm going to support Arsenal.
Wait, we got Vinay Arsenal. Vinay got another Arsenal man in.
Isn't that his son?
No, his actual son. It's his wife's son. So it's not for his first wife. It's for his first wife, not his second. He's got kids with Tracy.
Oh, right.
But the oldest son is
I always thought that was his son-in-law, to be fair.
No, it's his actual real son.
Is that the bald-headed guy with the glasses that's next to him?
No, has he got glasses? I don't think he's got glasses.
No, he's got glasses.
Does he wear glasses?
No, you're thinking.
He looks like him. He looks a little bit like him.
Yeah, he looks spitting image of him.
Yeah,
right. Okay. Yeah, the same guy.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is is Vinay a Spurs fan?
No.
Hey, Arsenal Takeover.
Vivian's Liverpool, isn't she, apparently?
It's an Arsenal. I think it's like the one question that action speaks louder than words. And I think going forward,
and that's the exact. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think going forward, we can all sit here, think about what's going to happen, but Johnny transfer window, summer transfer window, that's going to be everything. And I think, I believe, like I said, I think Enoch will invest because more money is better than, there's nothing better than more money to these people. Let's be clear here, as a business standpoint, and to get the glory and get the praise from the fans. I think it's the only thing he can do, unless they sell the club. But then they're not going to get it. They're just going to be known as, go ahead, Ash.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, can we talk about that Marinakis? Because I know we've spoken about Levy a bit and the club and
who's Marinakis?
Marinakis is the one that owns Tottenham Forest.
Man, he brought our boy Ange back, innit?
And he bought
you know what?
Because I'm seeing a lot of Spurs fans like saying, "Oh, it's like my ex cheating on me," and it's like,
you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if he did that just for fucking badness, like that.
Why did he do that? For spitefulness? He's spiteful.
Look, if a chairman's willing to walk onto the pitch and challenge his own manager, shout at him. and like I said, he's Greek, Angie's Greek, so like. I know Daniel Levy has his ego, but all chairmen have their fucking egos, and this guy looks like he has a massive ego. He looks like he wants to be the one who's like running the club, like as in managing the club as well.
No, but he does, doesn't he? Because then he do that. Doesn't he do that with Olympiacos?
Yeah,
he does exactly the same thing. This is not. I think what's happened here is where the Premier League's a bit more. He has to be a bit more standoffish. But
do you know what he done at Olympiacos?
Well.
Like genuinely, I'm just being honest. This guy,
don't.
This guy is one of the biggest rats in football, man. I'm being honest. As a Greek man, I'm being honest, right?
These are the views of Andy and not Spurs Kings TV. Don't shut us down, Marinakis.
Legal letters to the door, Barnum.
If you wanted somebody politically correct, I'm not your guy, bro. I'll be honest with you. Like Marinakis is one of the biggest rats in Greece. I'm being honest. He brought a gun on the pitch. This is in Greece. This happened in Greece.
Yeah,
right?
okay,
They were playing AEK Athens, okay? Olympiacos were playing them, which is a big derby for them. He brought a gun on the pitch to intimidate the referee because he gave him a 95th minute penalty. Bro, the guy's a complete and utter rat. He's one of the most corrupt people in Greece. I'm being honest with you. And the fact that now he's gone and got a manager who I absolutely hate in Ange Postecoglou, it's made it 10 times worse for my hatred for Nottingham Forest.
Hey,
you're not following your fellow Greek man?
No, I'm not. I hate both of them, bro. Listen, everybody knows I was Ange out for about a year and a half. I'll tell you when I was Ange out. I was Ange out when he wanted to win that game against Man City to give Arsenal the title. That's when I was Ange out, yeah? But also, when it comes to someone like Marinakis, we've known about him for many, many years in Greece. And I'll be honest with you, nobody likes him. His own players don't even like him. You know that situation with Morgan Gibbs-White? It was weird. You could see how weird it was. The guy is literally part of the mafia in Greece. Like, the guy's a joke. I'm really sorry, Spurs Kings TV. You might get a little warning, but the guy's a complete and utter joke.
No, you know what? You're not actually saying anything that's offensive. You're just calling
I
the
can
shots.
tell you one thing. I'm a Cypriot guy, right? I've got family from Greece as well.
Mm-hmm.
He does not represent Greek people. I'm being completely honest.
Wow.
Bro, I'm being honest with you.
What we're doing right now.
Yeah. I'm going in.
Don't Greek men have passion?
Yeah, we do. Of course we do.
And always have to be right?
Okay, but passion doesn't beat up women and threaten referees. You know what I mean?
Right. So who would you rather? So basically,
like Ange is what we call a typical Elena. Anybody Greeks understands what I'm trying to say.
Right.
It's a typical Athenian. It's like somebody who's quite a little bit shrewd, a little bit quiet, but he's a bit stuck up. But that's okay. Whereas Marinakis takes it to a different stratosphere. Like, the guy's a complete and utter rat. You know what I mean? Like Angie's a little one. He's just a bit of a rat. But like Marinakis is like the biggest rat that like feeds off of everything.
It's one of them situations though, Marinakis though. It's one of them. Everyone outside of Nottingham Forest will hate him and think, "Oh my God, what's he doing?" But if he was Spurs chairman, we'd all be loving him.
No, we wouldn't be.
Well, Nottingham Forest love him.
No, we wouldn't be. I think the reason why.
He sounds worse than Daniel Levy, more are you sure?
No, Forest love him. Forest fans absolutely trust him, and that's why a lot of them are
the reason why, because he's one of the most corrupt when it comes to money. If you look at his background, Marlon, I promise you, please do me a favor tomorrow. Go and look at this guy's background.
I've seen some of it.
This guy is a complete.
Is it Dribble CC? Yeah, is it Dribble CC that?
The
or
Greeks,
someone like that he
bro, the Greeks
threatened
don't
as
like
well on
him.
the
The Greeks
pitch.
don't
Yeah.
actually like him. Like, I'm being honest with you. Like, he's nothing but like one of those corrupt guys, money laundering. Threatens people with mafias and stuff. Like, you trust me. Just please look him up. You'll understand why I hate him.
Ange's first game for Nottingham Forest against Arsenal. If he beats Arsenal, would you like Ange then?
Would I like who? What one? Marinakis or Ange?
Ange, would you like Ange?
Oh, listen, Ange, I just didn't like him because I didn't like his tactics. I didn't like the fact that he wasn't a very good coach. I thought he was very old school, but I also thought he was incredibly arrogant. And there was a couple of things that griped me about Ange. One of them was when he done that to the Chelsea for the Spurs fans against Chelsea when Sarr scored. The other one, yeah, and then he got the what a twat. And like the other one was when he came out and crucified the Spurs fans about not wanting Arsenal to win the league when we played Manchester City. Like, he came out publicly and ruined Spurs fans. That's the reason why I don't like him. Also, I hated his football. I know that some of you lot like rock and roll football and it's who we are, mate. It's just complete and utter nonsense. Nobody plays with 10 forwards when you've got 9 men or 10 men. It's ridiculous. So, like, my point was, I just didn't think he was not very good. Whereas Marinakis he's just a scumbag for me. Like, because
wait. We have to kind of. This is again a YouTube show, so we have to
Sorry.
kind of. No. You're not bothered. Everyone's entitled to opinion, but we just have to throw the caveat at you. Is there a world? No, is there a world where Ange has learned? Because people say he doesn't adapt, and to be fair, if he took on some of what Nuno's had and combined it with what he has, could he be dangerous? Do you know what I mean?
Can I answer that question very simply?
Go for it.
Greek men, as you can tell from myself, we're quite stubborn, right? We're quite stubborn, all right? So let's just understand one thing, right? When you've had loss after loss after loss after loss and you're refusing to change, he ain't changing at Forest, mate. I can tell you that for free. No way. He doesn't do it. He's too stubborn for it. I promise you. He's
But then why is Marinakis gone in for him then?
Because he's Greek. That's the only reason why.
So Nottingham Forest gets relegated.
No. This is what I disagree with.
And he does change because our Europa League run was very defensive.
In the final game, I gave him credit.
No. Even against Bodo and against Frankfurt, he went very defensive. He wasn't.
Bodo. Not against Bodo.
Yeah, because even against Bodo, we wasn't all out attacking like we had. Because Frankfurt, we defended. We literally got a 1-0 win at their stadium.
Yeah. Well, look, we're fantastic in the second half. Again, he did change a little bit in that second half, but Europa League teams are not Premier League teams. We have to understand that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, but you're saying everyone was saying he was one way, but everyone saw that actually we were all complaining. Why could he not bring his Europa League the way we played in that into the Premier League?
Was it him or was it the players? Because by the way, I'm not saying it is. I'm asking. I'm throwing the question at you because I came on your show 2 nights before the Europa League final, right? And I actually said, if he changes, is it going to be him? And everybody said to me, no, it would be the players that takes initiative to do that. Do you remember? I came on your show 2 days before, and I said,
because I called you lot out on who would start when I
I
got
said,
it right by the way.
And I said, I don't believe that he has that in him to change because he's so stubborn. He's been stubborn in the Premier League, and he was stubborn throughout the competition. I actually think the team took it within themselves a little bit and went, you know what? We can't be this open. We just can't. Stop it. Sorry, you do.
No, what I wanted to say, I think personally, Marinakis has brought him in because he wants to transition to attacking football. That's what I think. I think he does. Do you not think it's the wrong time though? Yeah, of course. Of course it's the wrong time. But listen. And even like the players that he's brought in, I think McAtee, we were linked with for a little while, and all of a sudden, Nottingham Forest by McAtee. So I'm like, was they snaking him from that early? Did they want him out? And they were thinking around like,
can I ask you a question, Chris? Can I ask you a question? Because you just said that attacking football. Did you see any attacking football at the end of the last season?
You know what I mean? Front foot.
No. because I'll be honest,
But we
Like,
didn't
like
have,
in terms of
he
where
didn't have the players though, did he?
it's no. This is excuses. I'm sorry. It's the same team that won the Europa League. That's excuses. So if you can't say, oh, we didn't have the players, but then we won Europa League being
Yeah, but
defensive.
he won it defensively.
Yeah,
We
but
just said, did we say the attacking football?
Wait,
No,
but
we
are
didn't,
you
because he
telling
didn't
me-
have his first team.
Are you telling me by spending 190 million in that summer that he spent that he wasn't happy with that squad? Of
Hold
course-
on, I thought it was Lange.
Huh?
I thought it was Lange just spent 190.
Everyone you want to blame, yeah, everyone. But what I'm saying is, like, when you look at it,
consistency.
can you guys tell me what
Right.
game we played lovely attacking football and won latter part of the season? Because I can't remember one. Because I thought the football was dire.
It was in the. You're absolutely right.
Southampton.
Southampton was good. Southampton
You're right.
The last game we won.
I don't even need to say anything. Southampton.
It's-
Go
But I think
on.
what came into it, because Mickey Van de Ven watched the Spurs thing,
On Sky Sports.
the big interview.
Yeah.
No, it was a big interview. It's isn't Sky Sports? No, it's a Tottenham Hotspur channel.
Yeah, no, Sky Sports.
Oh, Sky Sports, he did it?
It was Premier League Productions. He done
Yeah,
it
yeah,
for.
Sky Sports, man.
So Sky
Oh,
Sports have got it.
Mickey
and so
Van de Ven?
Spurs, yeah.
Yeah. He knew at a certain point that he would only play European League games. So I think that from January, that the whole players knew, right? We're just going to do barely enough to survive, but everything goes into the Europa League, which I think that also upset a lot of people up top as well, and it pissed a couple of people off as well, because, and in a weird way, I personally believe Daniel Levy went, you know what, we're going to. I know, Marlon, you said he was trying to look for another manager. If they could, maybe it would have been sacked. But when they couldn't find it, I think Daniel Levy's like, right, let's get a trophy. That's what the fans will want. You know, it's a win-win situation for us. You know, if he doesn't win, we sack him. If he wins, we sack him. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He sounded like he wanted to keep him because he sounded like it was out of his hand.
No.
I think Daniel Levy. See, that's the thing. I think when it comes to manager and Daniel Levy, I think Daniel Levy was kind of like.
But I am PR.
Yeah, it could be PR. But I do think Daniel Levy doesn't like sacking managers because he's got that name for it.
It's like 14 managers.
That's what exactly. He doesn't like sacking managers.
I don't like it, but I'll sack the one that's just won the European
You know,
League.
that's what I mean. It's like that's what I mean. It's like
it, mate.
he sacked 14 managers, and Angie was because if you remember when Angie and him did like the open press, they were chums. They were like, we found the right guy, and he really believed in Angie, and then it fell apart, and he's like, for fuck's sake, I'll have to sack him again here. And you know the fans are going to turn.
Hold on. That was the first season because go and watch.
So that's what I mean.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, but the second season, if you noticed, it was Levy was over here now, and Andrew was sitting right here.
Maybe that's why he only did one big signing in Dominic Solanke.
Yeah,
because
you know what I mean. It's
maybe I think too heavy because I remember the same thing happened to what's his face Harry Redknapp in his final season.
Yeah,
like when we went to push for it, he kind of pulled away from the transfers
in the January window,
England debacle.
Yeah, but that was because he was linked with England, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's because he was linked with England. So that's why he pulled away and said, "Rah, I'm not going to spend the big dough." Do you know what I'm saying? So it's not the first time Levy's done something like this as well. And another thing about Levy, which I don't like, sorry, just to go on a rant, sorry, quickly. I don't like the way, like, when we sacked, was it Martin Yole? We took how many days? I swear we took like...
No, not Yole. Because we'd already had Ramos already lined up.
Yeah, I remember.
No, was it Santini? Was it Santini? Was it? No, not Santini.
Stellini, Conte.
No, before that, man. There was a time when he took about 8. He took long basically to replace the manager. I think it was before Santini.
He probably had Ryan Mason in charge as an interim.
Who was talking? Who's the manager?
Was it Sherwood and Pochettino?
It was before that. It was before that. It took ages. Because remember, you got Frank Arneson in, and everyone was like, "Oh, you took all that time."
Oh, you're talking about what's his name? The old French coach,
the Chelsea guy.
You're talking about. So this is when not Graham Hoddle. It was Hoddle.
Yeah, I think when he sacked Hoddle.
It was when he sacked Hoddle.
It took ages.
Yeah, but there was a reason behind that because remember at the time, Enoch had just taken over and they wanted a big manager, and basically everyone was saying no, and then the guy, the French, I can't remember his name now, but the France manager at the time suddenly, because Arneson came in, suddenly became available because they knew he was going to quit. And then what had happened was the news was about to break before the World Cup, and France stopped it.
Yeah.
Because they knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Guys,
So
can I just make a point? And I know we're veering off topic, but there's a few comments.
Santini, that's his name. Jack Santini.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Jack Santini, yeah.
That's why it took long.
The Leon. Was it the Leon manager? Yeah.
Ex-Leon manager.
Yeah.
There's a few comments in here that I just want to address because I think there's a bit of beef going on between DW and Eugene. Right, but I just want to address it because DW said Andrew's changing the narrative to suit his anti-Ange and Marinakis agenda, which is quite interesting. Of course, Ange changed it in the final. I'm not dismissing. I admit he definitely changed it in the final, by the way, DW. I've always said that, and I gave him credit for that, by the way, when we won it, and I came on this show giving him credit. Okay, but then Eugene's thrown a spanner in the work and said, Ange changed it in the final because we were missing our 3 CMs and nobody could make a pass. So do you guys agree with that? Because I actually agree with that. The fact that we had no Maddison, no Bergvall, no Kulusevski. So he's had to go defensive. Do you
So
agree?
I can answer that.
I actually agree with that.
So I can answer that.
Yeah.
Bournemouth at home. Thomas Frank did exactly the same thing.
What is it with you, Vinay, Thomas Frank? Are you all right?
No, but
Wait, he doesn't like Thomas Frank.
No. I always say everyone has to be put on a level. But I always put everyone on a level playing field. I'm not going to just, apart from Daniel Levy, which he gets a different. And everyone else gets put on the same. So
Frank has had 2 games, and to be fair to him,
but you're asking the question, and
no, I am. What I'm saying is,
we had no number 10s in that game. So
exactly.
what happens? What happens? Where against Manchester City, it works. Manchester City, whenever we play defensive, always works. So it was always going to work against City. But again, if we go and look at Bournemouth, where we didn't have a shot for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
This is where it comes back to what Eugene said and what you're saying about the final, because Sarr is playing the number 10. Exactly what we did. You have to put it in the same perspective.
I understand, but I feel
so you're probably I'm actually agreeing with you. You're probably right in the sense of
I agree with you, Eugene. I think that is the reason why we did play defensive, if I'm being honest with you. But in terms of the Bournemouth, I think it's a little bit different because I think Frank was so honest after that Bournemouth game, and he turned around and said we really struggled with their press, with their high press, and getting into space.
If you go and look at the game against Burnley, because he had 3 attacking players, because Bergwall and Archie Gray is not defensive, full stop. And then right, he had more of an attacking threat, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But when it came to Bournemouth, you had Bentancur, Paulinho, and Sarr, which is kind of what you're going. Where you had Basuma, Bentancur, and Sarr. So the same result with what happened in the final is exactly why Bournemouth was such a struggle.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, no, he's right, man. And you know what? Talking about Frank, what do you think his ceiling is?
Just gets on with it.
I think personally, his ceiling is FA Cup, maybe League Cup. I don't think he goes any more than that.
What about league position? Where's the highest he can finish?
No, he can finish top 4. He can finish top 4.
Yeah, he can get to top 4.
Yeah. If you back him, I think he can finish top 4. Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I agree. I think where Villa, Brighton, and everyone's kind of falling off, and City, because I don't think City are going to be the same. You are literally looking at Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal, and who am I missing?
Newcastle.
Yeah.
I don't think we can challenge the top 3, but I do think Frank can get that 4th position.
He should.
What, this season?
Yeah. I'm saying the reason why I'm saying it, Ash, is because I feel like we've had a good window, and I do feel like we've actually got a good coach now.
So you expect Simmons to hit the ground running, and he's going to be a difference in that kind of midfield role, where we're able to progress the ball,
mate. I think everyone's missing a trick.
Ash. What's going to be scary is when Kulusevski comes back as well.
I think everyone's missing a trick here, and I think the signing of the window, which people are kind of dismissing, and I know he looked quite unhappy, but Mwani is going to be
I was loving that.
When I think he's going to do wonders under Frank.
100%. Listen, I can tell you now, he's better than Richarlison straight away. And
Solanke.
Look, is he better than Solanke? We've got to see Solanke link up with the new players. We haven't.
I'll give you that.
With Kudus and Xavi Simmons.
Interesting.
So we don't know, but I have to say that in terms of our issue last season, creating play, you know straight away Xavi Simmons is going to link to Solanke and Kolo Muani. I mean, Obviously, I know that Richarlison's had a few good games, but I do think Colin Wine is a great signing for us, actually.
I think Simmons might struggle a little bit because I think he's going to have the same trouble that Wirtz is having, where coming from the German league, they're a bit small, they're a bit sometimes.
Yeah, I think it depends. Don't be surprised if you see Frank playing him on the left side.
I agree.
I agree.
And having that solid midfield, maybe even Wani.
Orin, that's why I said when Kulusevski comes back, that three behind the striker is lethal. It's absolutely.
But here's the thing, Andre.
Kulusevski's not back until February, March.
I agree.
Does Kulusevski suit Thomas Frank's system and way of playing, though?
Yeah, because he high presses very, very well, and he's very good with his first touch. So I do think.
And Frank spoke highly of Kulusevski when I can't remember if it was under Range, and there was something that was said, and he literally praised Kulusevski.
What does this mean for players like Tell then? You know, we're talking about all these players like Moani and stuff.
Tell
came on against France on the 21s. I know it's a kids' competition.
I don't under 21s, man. Please, man, I can't.
I'm just saying.
I think with the likes of Till and all that, they are going to be because Till's not in the Champions League squad. I think they're going to be used in the cup games. FA Cup.
I'm surprised he's not in the Champions League squad. I don't know who's gone in over him, but I am surprised he's not in the Champions League.
It was between him and Odegaard.
No, but Odegaard's been better than him. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Out of the two, Odegaard has probably caused more damage.
I actually really like Odegaard's directness. He's very raw. He's very young, but I think he's a lot better than Tim.
And if you actually look at both their Europa League performances last season, Odegaard actually caused more problems in Europe.
So what? Does anyone think that Tell can go to like Nottingham Forest then?
January, like it's been linked.
Andrew will come in and be like, "Yeah, Tell."
Can you take Archie Gray too?
Archie Gray needs to stay.
Did I miss some Ange slander when I was gone?
Yeah. Archie Gray.
No. We love him.
Archie Gray is going to stay.
I'm absolutely devastated.
Manny,
it's all good.
Do you think there will be injuries at Nottingham Forest? Go for it.
Mate, I think I was saying to Luke, who's on Spotlight on Spurs, right?
Spotlight, so there too.
I was saying to him today, and I was like, I love Ange, but my hate for Marinakis, right, is supersedes my love for Ange. So I really genuinely hope he gets them relegated. I'm not even joking. I mean,
at least win the trophy in the second season.
The championship.
Mate, I just don't like it.
That'll be hilarious. The narrative. Oh my days.
I don't like anything about him.
I can't wait till Nottingham Forest play that football. You're going to see an absolute calamity.
But Andrew, what if they win the Europa? Has anyone thought about that?
They could. Listen, they could win the Europa. I'll be honest with you.
We win nothing.
I don't think they will, but it's a possibility.
No. I think they can. Like the point in relation to the Premier League, right? It's going to be. I don't understand what the chairman was thinking, because seeing what's his name, the defender, I forgot his name now. Seeing Zinchenko on the left hand side of the defense, on the right hand.
Oh, I'm here for it.
Zinchenko inverted, leaving goal.
Zinchenko's best football was inverted, though.
But Marlon, just imagine Zinchenko running back. Imagine what the two centre backs.
I can't wait till Morgan Gibbs-White starts playing centre back, and you lot are going to say Andy was right. I can't
It's gonna be tough.
Mate, they've got Elliot Anderson, though, haven't they? Elliot Anderson? Yeah, they've got Anderson.
Good.
And then they've got Milenkovic and Murillo. So
Milenkovic was stinking it out. Did you not watch it?
But imagine Milenkovic running back, Marlon, trying to track back Nah. I don't know, man.
Don't worry, no, because what's his name? Matt Sells will be on so far up. They won't worry, man. Forest will be fine, man. I've got faith.
That's the thing. It's gonna be. We're gonna find out. I think everyone's gonna find out when he plays Arsenal.
No, it won't be that quick, because they've literally, that's transition. They can't transition within a week.
Yeah, they'll probably have just one training session before the Arsenal.
He's going to give a speech, lads. He's going to give them one super speech.
Yeah, and they'll be
unless he's learned from his stint at Spurs.
That's what I said.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's Ange may go right.
Or just FYI, people, though, just remember, Thomas Frank has not beaten Ange.
Yeah.
There we go.
And
They're swapped over.
December the 13th, lucky 13. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, do you think the sacking of Nuno was a bit harsh, Manny? Because I know you weren't there for that bit.
Poor Nuno.
No, I don't. I don't. I'm sorry.
Fair.
No, I don't. I mean, if you start, we know the industry we're in, right? Well, he knows the industry he's in. At the moment you start having those kind of, outbursts, saying, I was shocked when I watched that video on Sky Sports. I literally had to literally look again and think, am I watching this right? Saying, oh, the relationship is not the same. We're not talking anymore. I'm thinking, mate, what do you think this is? A soap opera? Like, you're gonna get sacked.
You don't look at me the same no more.
Manny, I think it was like when Conte went in on Levy. There's only so that you're not going to win.
Exactly, and when you get to the point where you sign, you have a record signing come in at Forest, and you don't even register him right for the Europa League. That's when you know that the writing is on the wall. So I knew. It's harsh in a sense of he's done a great job.
Seventh though, he got
he's done it.
Seventh.
You guys have to remember though that there was at one point where Nottingham Forest looked like they might get Champions League place. And when
for them as well.
Yeah, when that chairman walked onto that pitch, I think it was they drew or they lost, and it was a chance to get that
3-3.
And that's what he wanted.
And you have to remember, in March he gave up his rights for, was it Olympiacos or Forest? I can't remember which one he did. He gave up his rights just in case they were in the Champions League together. So
goes against the manager, and I said to you, like I said to Ash off before he came on, I think that's when it started. That's
I agree.
When it all started, and he looked at it and went, and then Nuno decided, right, I'm going to be big boots, and he's like, you're going to do a Ten Hag? Well, we're going to do a Brian Leverkusen to you. So,
what if Forest finish above Spurs? Is anyone thought about that?
Nah, that's something
won't happen.
Huh?
No. Ash, don't even try it. No, don't try it.
Why has there not been no potential in that? Why do people think that's not going to happen?
Here's why. If Nuno was in charge, maybe, but we're talking about Ange, he only plays one style of football. So more than likely, half the Nottingham Forest.
That was your guy.
When he was at Spurs, I defended him.
For me, not even that.
By the way, the longer this podcast got, now me and Orin on the same page.
You know what? Here's what, like, Daniel Levy being sacked has just done a lot of things. It's got two people together. We found out that Marlon really hates Vinny. He's already got that pin ready to go. Ash, he's got the lights going. He's looking great. And Manny, well, you're just looking good too. So
I hate Lange.
Yeah. So we've all got our villain in place, ready to go. Marlon has already got the banners designed for Vinny.
Is there a world where people see Kane coming back?
Yes.
Listen, I got convinced last night, right? And hear me out. Apparently, it's out there that he does not want to end his career at Bayern, right?
No.
He's got 2 years left on his contract,
2027,
which means that either he signs a new contract next summer or they have to sell him.
Yeah.
Like that, those are the two options. Yeah, because he can't run his contract down
also,
to the end.
Spurs have got a buyback clause on him, Manny. You know what I mean? We've got a buyback clause.
How old is Kane now? Kane is what, 30?
33, maybe?
33, yeah.
33, so he'll be 34, 35. So if he comes back, he's no, he's not going to go to Arsenal. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's not Villa.
Here, don't be getting that in Marlon's head. He has Harry Kane high. So if he figures one inkling that he might be going to Arsenal, his legacy's done.
Guys, I'm gonna have to head off in a minute. So
same here.
I just want to say thanks to everybody, and it's been a good laugh.
Cool.
And, I'll be back on soon. Cool. All right. I love to everybody, man. Love to everybody.
Take care.
Take care, guys. Bye bye.
Nice.
Bye. Last question for me, because I have to go as well.
Cool.
You're all happy. So here's a question that I'll ask all the panel, since I get the last question. What do you want to see happen next? Because we've all speculated, but what do you guys want to see happen next?
What, Spurs-wise, without Levy?
Of course, yeah.
I think
With the
from
whole
my
Enoch takeover, like
Yeah.
Enoch and everything, like what I've said that personally, I want to see
really
Enoch
go for it.
invest in the club.
I really want the club to go for it. I just want the club to go. I don't know if it will happen, but I just want them to go for it before they bow out, because I do think a takeover will happen. And in that time, they've got a chance to show us it was my man blocking our blessings. You know what I'm saying? But if they don't, then it'll be like, oh, you know what? Maybe it was Levy bowing down to Joe Lewis. Like Joe Lewis was like Galactus and Levy was like Silver Surfer, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? He was doing his bidding. So I would love to see the grandchildren or the children or whatever as a united front. I want to see what they can do in it, and hopefully that means the club pushes forward, and Frank's able to do great things. Like, I'm a Spurs fan at the end of the day, so I want what's best for the club, and if that means a takeover and someone coming in and it's positive, that's what I want ultimately. Do you know what I mean? Without me going too detailed.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah,
I just want what's best for Spurs, bro. I'll be honest with you.
Manny?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care too much about who owns the club, right? Like that's not my remit. That's not why I support Spurs. My whole point is more about what they do whilst they own the club. So if all of this was a plot twist to allow Levy to get to the point where he sets the club up for the future, for these, the Lewis children, as they say, the 60-year-old children, to pick up Spurs and usher them forward onto the new era. I'm all for it. As I said, looking at the signings that we had this summer, the quality of the signings was right. Maybe the timings, we could have done it in a better fashion. I'm not sure, but if looking at the summer is how we're going to go forward, and we're going to, look how to get a Savinho, look how to get players that come into the team and improve us each transfer window. I'm all for it, because that's it's two parts of it, isn't it? We buy players that are quality and can improve the team, and then you say, over to you, the manager, get us over the line. And and I know you guys have spoken about it, but from an Ange, someone who was really Anging, looking at Thomas Frank, he knows what he's doing. He's really, really, really like tactically astute. And from the very little I have seen, he's shown me something that I can definitely get on board with. So provide him with the tools and let's see what he can do. So that's all I want. That's all I want.
So if Frank wasn't to get like out of the top 6, would you still be as positive if he wasn't able to deliver? If he wasn't able to deliver us top 6 minimum, like, would you still be as positive as you are on Thomas Frank?
I am giving him the first year for me, just like I did with Ange, is crack on, see what you can do. I expect top 6 because of how bad, or how much the other teams have fallen off, and the issues they've had with PSR, like Villa and Newcastle and whatnot. So I'm expecting top 6. If he doesn't deliver top 6, I'm not going to throw my toys out the pram. However, I'll be looking at him sideways, and I'll be watching him in the second season to see what he can do. I definitely want to give him time
straight away. He'll be on forward watch.
No. I'm telling you now. Yeah. I'm not even gonna hide it. You know me. I got no excuse. I got no excuse. You don't need to give me an excuse to put anyone on fraud watch. So.
Marlon, apart from obviously getting rid of Vivian, you want him gone.
Vinay, not me.
By the way, guys, I need to jump off. So
yeah, no worries. Right.
So much,
nice meeting you, Matty.
Thanks for coming on, bro.
apart from get rid of him, and I know you've already said no matter what happens with Spurs, you're good because Daniel Levy's gone. But put that to the side. What do you expect?
So
The next
what I expect? So I'd expect. So you know how everyone's talking about Daniel Levy leaving this week. Not one person has spoke about the football.
Mhm.
Everything about Daniel Levy's been about the stadium, the training ground, the
Right.
concerts, and all that kind of stuff. Now that stuff's important. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want Tottenham to be known as that. I want Tottenham to be known as the football club. So when people go, when Enoch leave, if they do leave in 2-3 years' time, or maybe 4 or 5, I want it to be about football, and the other stuff is, even though it's bringing the revenue's coming in and it's coming in from different streams, that's the bit that no one really cares about. Well, not cares about and worries about, because that's the other side of Tottenham. That's the other bit, not the important bit. It's the bit that's extended on what Tottenham Hotspur is as a football club. I want to be able to. I want the football club, when managers leave and when whatever happens next, I want it to be about football, not about the extended versions of what's helping us become a football club. If that makes sense, because
Yeah.
I know that stuff's important, and people
More
it shouldn't
trophies.
it's not even about trophies. It's
Just
more
good
about
football.
good
Yeah.
football, establish ourselves. I
Yeah.
want, if Daniel Levy's tenure is all it's going to be known about is I want people to go on Google, when they Google Tottenham Hotspur. It's not about the stadium. It's not about the training ground. It's not about this. I want it to be about, actually, this is the great football club it is. This is what it does. This is blah 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 blah. And the algorithm will hit that part, and not the part about Beyonce playing there and whatnot. And that stuff's and that stuff is important. And that's the bit. I don't want people to figure what I'm saying. That stuff's important, but that should be in the background noise. Look, for me, Arsenal, when they had concerts, the Capital Ball at their stadium, no one spoke about it was at Arsenal Stadium, because Arsenal's known as a football club. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's bringing in revenue for them. That's important, and that was important. That's where I want Spurs to be, and I think that's what's labelled at Spurs right now. Is more the fact is they don't talk about the football. Like when you go and tell someone you're a Tottenham fan, they're like, "Oh, do you get to go to the NFL? Do you do this? Do you do that?" Hold on, I want to speak about the football club, because that's the bit that's the important part, and I want that. That's what I'd hopefully like them to be moving towards. It's what they've said in their statement. That's the important part as well. It's got to be that balance, and I just don't think we ever had that balance for the last, especially in the last 8 years.
They did talk about Premier League and Champions League as well.
Yeah, but that was Levy. Yeah, but here's the thing. And the thing is,
here's the thing. Like I know I still have to go, but like here's the thing, which is really interesting as well. Thomas Frank, new manager. You know what I mean? Like now, the chairman who hired him has pretty much been asked to step down. That's why I'm leaning more and more towards that. I think Daniel Levy knew that Vivian and all would be taken over, but I do believe that he thought that they were going to keep him on, and then they just went, no, we just want you to step down. We want a complete removal of the old guard, such a thing. It's fascinating. We'll never know unless Daniel writes a biography, which I'm sure he does. And hey, if he does, Marlon, you're getting at least 10 copies. But yeah, you know what? It's for 25 years it's been back and forth, but I'm excited. You know, it should be exciting times for all Spurs fans.
I think I think there'll be less arguments between the fans. I think we'll be less split.
For now, yes.
All it takes is 3 months. No. I know transfer windows will always be split. It's always going to be a problem. And I'm not expecting, like, me and Ash split already, because he's expecting big. If you got to go into that January transfer, if we're third and we're above City, we ain't getting Savinho. There's no way.
I hear it. Yeah. No, I was just posing the question.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, I'm not expecting big things in January.
I'm here like the rest of us. We're waiting to find out what's going on.
It's
and
next
I put
summer.
the question out for January, like, because obviously there is the injection, whatever. Whether we spend it or not, it's a different situation.
If we're looking at, like, you know, when Liverpool signed Van Dijk, you knew they were after Van Dijk in August, and they gave Southampton those 6-month period to go, and they'll probably sign Gahey in January. With us, the only player that we've been linked with that we definitely need, and what is Savio. The problem we've got is the club he's coming from is Manchester City. The problem is that we're trying to compete with City for that top 4 spot. So it's high. If City come down to it, they'd rather Savio sit at City doing nothing for 6 months because they can afford to pay it, than sending him to Spurs where he could help us make top 4.
Here's the question. Like, Marlon, you hit the nail on the head there. Like you said, how when Liverpool wanted Van Dijk, 6 months. Do you think the new Enoch or the new whatever, they're going to do the same thing? Like they
In
might
6 months planning ahead.
yeah, not 6 months, but like instead of waiting until the Johnny transfer, and they'll go right. That's what Daniel Levy did.
Yeah, it was opportunities. Yeah, whatever opportunities could happen in January instead of being
because
proactive.
as much Daniel Levy did make fuck ups and mistakes. Let's all agree to that, right? It shows them what not to do and how to do it right. And all they have to do right is go right. Spurs need these two players. Let's start talking to the club now. So by January, they're signing for the club. No more messing around. Because if you really think about, like, the way I look at it, it's like whatever Enoch does, the injection and get transfers, that's it. They don't need to do anything else to get to win the fans over. To get Spurs, they don't need to like invest in a stadium. They don't need to training grounds.
It is the squad, and that's the bit where I kind of go look at it and go, as long and the weirdest thing is when I look at the squad now, there's not many holes left. The biggest hole for us for injury wise was the attacking players, and that's probably what wasn't addressed. Simmons came in, yes, and so did Mawani, but it was that left-sided player that just wasn't addressed. And if we go into January and that's still the same, because there could be fresh injuries in January, that's the other problem. You've then got to address it quite quickly. And if you can if you're talking to clubs now, it should be starting now that you're talking to these clubs.
Yeah,
so them 5-6 months to plan as well. So look, I don't know if Spurs are going to change. It is going to be what it is, but for me, I think a big part of the problem. Look, I don't think the transfer windows was Daniel Levy's biggest issue. His biggest issue was changing his managers every 18 months, and and then he had to then recycle the players to get them in for the new manager. And by the time he did that, it was too late. The only three managers that actually got any time was Redknapp, Pochettino, and Yol. They were the only three managers that got any time. The rest,
but sure, they all prove they deserve more time, wouldn't you say? Like Pochettino, I believe that Pochettino.
Yeah, so Pochettino, because in his first season, remember he was at a point where he was about to get sacked.
Yeah,
right. Martin Yol, he got his time because it was their first big manager. They just lost Santini. Three months in? So Yol kind of had the time where they went, you know what? If we don't stick, and if Arneson was still here at the time, they had to stick with their new project. What's his name? Who was to say Redknapp? Redknapp's Redknapp. Redknapp probably the only one I'd probably say out of the three of them that there was no chance at any time during his period that he thought he was going to get sacked.
Do you know what's funny about the Santini and Yol situation? And I mentioned it earlier with the Frank Arneson being at the helm. Frank Arneson wanted Martin Yol. Levy went against him and got Santini. And Yol and Santini never got on.
No.
And the players didn't respond to Santini because he spoke too much French. Never really spoke any English. Don't know if you guys remember that. So like Levy got that one wrong.
But again, hold on. But this goes back to what Levy always gets wrong and what he's been getting wrong for the last 5 years. If you're bringing in Santini, bring his coaching staff with him. Pay for them to come with him.
Yeah, this is it. Because it's like, just listen to the football people and let the football people run it. Because Frank Arneson wanted Martin Yol originally. Do you understand? And so because he was like, no, I want Santini. And then they said, all right, what we'll do, because you're a new sporting director and I'm trying to do things different, what we'll do is we'll have both of them. So we somewhere meet in the middle. But that's where he messed up, because if you're bringing in a new model of having a DOF, the whole point of having a DOF is to let them run the football. Do you understand?
This is where Vinay comes in, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly, because Vinay might run it a little bit different. So then the point I'm making now, because Martin Yol got sacked at half time, which was mad. And that was in the Europa Cup game against
Getafe. Michael Laudrup was the manager at the time. I'll never forget it.
Right. So remember that half time in Europa, which is crazy to me to get sacked in October in Europa. It reminds me of Nuno. But anyway, we move. So then I think when he landed on Redknapp was a case of we just had
it was desperation with Redknapp.
Yeah, Redknapp was desperation because we were like relegation.
We were 2 points from.
Yeah, we were relegation
11, I think.
So Redknapp was brought in to save Tottenham, just to get us up the table. He was meant to be like a Pulis, or
he was meant to be short term.
Yeah, it's meant to be short term. So I think Levy got lucky on Redknapp. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah, but
Redknapp,
but
what Redknapp did was
there was an important signing in January that he went and got for Redknapp, which changed the whole course of Tottenham Hotspur, and that was Wilson Palacios.
yeah. So I think Redknapp, what he did as well, he just said any player that worked underneath him before, he's like, get me him, because obviously like Redknapp will know that player. Do you know what I mean? So Redknapp was that type of manager where, oh yeah, I worked with Defoe at Portsmouth, innit? Bring me back Defoe and bring me this guy. So I think in some terms, like Levy got lucky with Redknapp, and then I think with Poch, I also think he got slightly lucky again because I think he looked at Poch and saw what he did with Southampton and thought, all right, this guy might be able to get me back to what I got with Redknapp in terms of like Europe, etc. But he didn't foresee how well Poch would do in getting us into like challenging for third, second, third again,
It came
and then
too
eventually
early.
fourth. But then we had that whole window, obviously, where he didn't, put the hand in the pocket, and then
The problem with
obviously
yeah,
when we're
the
doing the
problem
move,
with Poch, the biggest problem that he had with Poch was he bought things too early. He needed that when the stadium opened.
yeah,
The problem was it happened as soon as we were moving out of one house into another and having a temporary home, and it
yeah,
all just kind of
I think
we
like as
couldn't handle
well.
it.
I think with Poch, yeah, Daniel Levy got. People will say, "Oh, he got lucky with Poch," but I think Poch got lucky because if you look at the teams around him, Man City was rebuilding, Liverpool
yeah,
was
yeah,
rebuilding.
yeah, oh yeah,
And even at the time, like I was being asked, Spurs can win the league. I'm like, look, yes, Spurs are playing great football, but what it's going to be very, very interesting when Man City and the Liverpool and even the Arsenal and they rebuild. That's when you're going to see the true. And I just think those players peak too much, to peak too quickly. I still believe that Poch wasn't good enough to win. I think, like I looked it up, every single big game he lost, whether it's semi-finals or FA or semi-finals or finals, it was to a manager who had won a trophy before.
Mm. Do,
So
do,
he
you,
did,
do you think it was sorry to cut you? Do you think it's a case of like some managers, like Ange? He said like the style of football he plays, he can only survive 2 or 3 seasons. That's what he says. He comes in 3 seasons, then he's out because he plays so like high obtained football
yeah,
that eventually players wear and tear, and it's not really sustainable. That's the reason why he has he has his ethos of like I don't stay here longer than 2 or 3 seasons.
yeah,
And do you think the same was with a little bit with Poch because he played a lot of high press, high intensity? Remember, Kane's ankles used to go all the time. He always used to pick up injuries, and I think Poch was saying like, "I need a refresh because some of the players they're
It's
getting bored
but
of."
that's always the biggest issue, and Jurgen Klopp had the same problem.
Yeah, Klopp as well is another
It's the
example.
time that you have to refresh,
Yes,
and I don't think Daniel Levy and even Liverpool's ball was cut out for it.
yeah, yeah,
And that's the problem. You need someone like Pep or Manchester City, where they've tried to do it this season. I know they had a bit of an embargo as well, but
mm,
they've gone, we need to do it all at once and give Pep the refresh that he needs. They will get rid of Manchester City are so good at getting rid of players at the right time.
yeah,
they
And,
are.
that's not about them spending money. This is about them knowing when it's time to recycle, and that's why they can always spend on one or two a summer. They did the big summer, and then what they did once Pep had his team, they'd get rid of the Gundogans and all them, and all at the right time. Haaland will be the same in a few years. They'll get rid of him at the right time, and then bring in the next crop of players. And this is what they do, but they'll always have their spine.
yeah,
Thing
man.
is, though, I think football's changed. There's not going to be any like watching football matches. There's not a lot of pressing done all the time consistently. It's done in moments.
Yeah, which
Um,
is Slot's
which
prime
yeah,
example of
I
that.
think that's the new way, and I think that
Mm,
even personally, I think what I said about Man City, watching Man City. I mean, Man City lost again after
mm.
Spurs.
That's right. Yeah, 2 games.
That like, and I know what you're saying, Marlon, about how they refresh, but you mentioned Angie and Poch. Pep's the same. He's only stayed 3 seasons at clubs.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to Pep, he's run out of ideas. I don't think he has any more. Because he even said that he was tired before. I know this is not a man, I'm just saying the
Yeah, no,
global
you're right,
thing.
man. No, you're right. You're
So
right.
it's kind of
You're right.
like, because a lot of the worries this season about Spurs not making those signings is what if the injuries happen again? And I just think that they've looked at it and thought, right, how can we prevent that? And the style that Frank plays, yes, the Bournemouth game was an error, but I do think that training, how they play, new medical staff, it's going to be very, very interesting.
So,
Like,
Oren, so do you think we'll get top 6 then as well, or top 4? What's your
yeah, I
minimum?
said top
What's
four.
your
Like,
minimum? What's your minimum for
top
Frank?
four. That's the minimum. They have to be top four. Like, you, it's really interesting because as much as I supported Angie, and I do, but I do understand he never changed. The players that Spurs bought this season would be absolutely perfect for Angie. Like, the
No, I agree.
levels. And so Frank has came in and he's got
The problem.
but
Because we're always, and we did the same with when Ange came in. All the players that Ange had to begin with were perfect for who? Fucking Conte.
but what I'm saying is, but yeah, yes, but what I'm saying is, it's like perfect for Conte, but I don't think Angie went in and go, right, this is my system, we're sticking to it. That's it. What I think Frank has done is gone and go, right, I'm not going to get you guys to change your system philosophy straight away. 2 years you've been playing it.
Yeah.
I'm going to mix it together with you, because sometimes you'd see Spencer Pero, they would be inverted, sometimes they'll be wide. But I think what Spurs missed under Angie was Angie would just, and even Poch and Angie, like Angie reminded me of Poch in a way, because they both would stand there and go, right, we've told you what to do, go and express yourselves. And it backfired. With Frank, you see him screaming at the players. You see him with notepads. He's kind of like, right, I'm not going to tell these players to go and express themselves, because I'm going to keep shouting at them, keep on their backs, shout at them. And you saw the difference. Like against Bournemouth, I think it was kind of clear, right, okay, that's what Richarlison does before he goes away. No problem. Not going to play Sarr in that position now. He was allowed to make that mistake. That one bad game. And like I said, the big thing that Spurs have signed, which other than Kali Mawani, I think it's going to be Richarlison should sit down. But no, you know what? No one Richarlison reminded me of Pierre Højbjerg. Every time Pierre was subbed, 2 players in his position would get injured. To the stuff. Richarlison, I think he knows his days are numbered. Like no contract sign and stuff. But the one player is Paulinho. I think Paulinho, sorry. He's a number 6. I think he's the guy to.
But do you think because there's a narrative going around that Paulinho at the moment, when he's in the team, we don't have a progressive passer, and he's a bit of a hindrance when we're trying to break down low blocks, for example.
That's the thing. I think that's why you play Paulinho, but then you play a Bergville and a Xavi against a low block team. Frank didn't have that option.
You'd leave Bentancur out and play Paulinho.
Oh yes, yeah.
I
think against Burnley,
because if you look at Bentancur and Paulinho, they're not that much different. I think Bentancur withdraw. I think he can spray those passes. He can be a really good deep play midfield player or playmaker, but he doesn't for whatever reason when he gets on that pitch. So it's like, right, Bergville came on, adds a bit of energy, and then you've got Xavi, and then if you got Mawani who's making runs, that guy will be making runs, and so you're looking at. Depends what happens against West Ham. More likely Spurs.
Because we've got West Ham and Villarreal next. To finish up. And with West Ham and Villarreal, do you expect a lot of midfield rotation, or do you think it would stay the same for both games? Because one game we're away at West Ham, and the other game we're at home to Villarreal.
Again, it's. I think there might be rotation.
One game, or do you expect? To be a bit of
I think what Frank will do is he has to have a spine. So we both know that Romero and Van de Ven will always start. So far, it's going to be Spence and Peril. Those are the back line. That's the spine.
Big up the Jed. You get me?
Yeah.
Debut in that. Yeah.
Carry on. The midfield. I think the midfield will change. The midfield 3. If it's against teams that Spurs need to defend, you think Sarr, Bentancur, and Paulinho with Xavi playing on the left. But if it's not, I think Xavi plays on number 10 and Johnson plays. Yeah, again, I think even before Bentancur got injured, I just don't think he suits. He has moments, I'm not denying that, but what does he actually do? Like, what if you watch, when you talk about a player and you think, right, what does Bentancur actually
Yeah,
do
he
to
doesn't do
make?
anything exceptionally well. But do you not think then Johnson's days are numbered right now, or do you think he gets a game against Villarreal? Does he start against West Ham, or does he get like taken out the team straight away?
You see, I think Johnson will be taken out of the team, but I do think that as soon as Richarlison, when's Richarlison's contract end? This season or next season?
I'm not too sure, to be fair.
Um,
I'll find out for you.
I do. I do think Johnson's going to be converted to number 9 eventually.
Do you? But why?
Because he can finish. He can't create. We all know that. He can't cross.
He can still play as a forward, though, but on the left-hand side, isn't it?
Pardon?
You can still play as a forward, but as a left forward, rather than a left winger.
Yeah, he could. Well, that's the thing. Frank might go 3-5-2. So if he plays 3-5-2, that's the thing. Frank has,
But he can't
in a weird way,
hold on to the ball to be a striker. As a striker, you got to hold on to the ball, no?
Well, if you're playing balls over the top, you don't have to. Yeah. Michael Owen was never a player who was. If you look at Haaland, now I'm not comparing the two together, but if you look at Haaland, he is terrible at holding the ball up.
You think so? I think he is good. I think
he's right. Terrible. Like, he's improved, but he's not. If I said name a really good striker who holds the ball up, Haaland doesn't come to the top of your mind. But if I say name a striker in Premiership who's really good at finishing, you would say Haaland.
Charlottes's contract ends in 2027.
Right.
So he's got 2 years if.
Fuck, that man is still a living. My word. Imagine that's all you have to do. A little fucking. That's what Daniel Levy should have done. A little mental health video, and he would have got people on the side.
Oh, wow.
All the booing guys, mental health. I'd go home at night and just sit in the shower, in the cold shower. You would have got. No, man, I'm only messing. Yeah, I think.
But you think Johnson will be converted to a number 9, and we won't buy another number 9? So you don't. You don't believe that Kane hype? Then you don't, because if Richarlison goes, we don't buy another striker.
You can still get Kane, but
don't you think that would look mad though? If Richarlison was sold, right, and we said, "Oh, we're not buying a striker. We're going to use Johnson as the number 9." How do you think fans will take that?
Fans are, well, see, that's the beauty of it, because fans might ignore it if Spurs manage to bring Kane back. If Kane comes back, he's not playing 60 games a season. He's back for one reason, and that is to break Alan Shearer's record.
You don't think he would want to play in Champions League at all, then?
No, he will. That's what I'm saying. But I'm not saying he's not going to be playing every. He's not playing every single game. And Johnson's going to get red. I just have a feeling. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, Johnson gets sold. I think that's another thing we might be interested in if ENIC are ruthless. Like, okay, you're not doing well, bye. You're not doing well, bye. You're not doing well, bye.
That would be like if we get like a 40 to 50 million for Johnson back to Forest, you know what I'm saying, going the other way. Obviously, some fans won't like that because it's Johnson again, ole ole. They won't be able to sing that. But
he can finish. Yeah, he can't. Sure, flip. The same fans who probably... It's weird because, I mean, I saw some couple of fans who wanted Dele Alli back. Like,
yeah, I did see that too.
Wrexham, man. Let him go Wrexham.
Yeah.
Why didn't Dele Alli just do it in the first place? Go back to Wimbledon or something. Why travel all around the place? Why not just go back to the Division 1, build himself up? But maybe too many computer games. I don't know. But yeah, is that it, guys?
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up, man.
Let's wrap it up.
I mean, Marlon, you got anything else to finish on?
No, that's all good, man. Levy's gone. He's gone.
Levy's gone, but in replace Vinny.
I'm not Vinny out.
I'm gonna have to research Vinny now because I'm gonna have to say Vinny in.
You stick with the Arsenal guy, yeah.
You know what? I was surprised that no one brought that up, that he's an ex-Arsenal. Everyone just like, shh, don't talk.
But that shows you how much people like Daniel Levy just got. It's Daniel Levy.
It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. Do you know what I mean? If we start.
Yeah, I think we all could. Maybe not all of us, but I do believe that Daniel Levy was used as a scapegoat in a little way. You know what I mean? Get rid of him.
Maybe so. Yeah, he's been
just a tiny bit. Obviously, yeah.
We'll see what happens. But him and I think they've put Joe Lewis in that sense tied as well.
Yeah.
So
But
we'll see.
that's-
We'll see. We'll see what the
Marlon,
kids do.
but Marlon, you're a fan of Enoch, though. You said not Joe, not
Yeah,
obviously.
I've always said that Enoch have always put the money in. Where my disgruntled will come from is the manager's changes. They're Daniel Levy. They're not Joe Lewis. Joe Lewis has to agree to them, but Daniel Levy was the one who necessarily sacked him, which then meant, as we spoke earlier, we're 2 or 3 windows behind where we should be because we're not putting the full money into backing the next manager who's then got 18 months to try and prove himself. Football don't work like that, and that's always been my biggest gripe.
You're like back the manager.
It's not even back the manager, back the football people that you've put there for a reason.
Hear it still,
All right.
guys.
I'm not gonna sit there and tell Daniel Levy how to manage a business because I ain't got a clue. Doesn't matter how much money I got. If I'm employing him, I'm employing him to do a job.
You don't need to now. You've got an ex-Arsenal man to do.
He's customer service.
But yeah, saying this, I'm staying on longer than I should, but hey, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, guys, make sure you hit that like button for Orange staying for a little bit longer.
Yeah, that's it.
Or if you were you're happy that Levy's out, hit that like button. That's a bit on there.
Yeah, and be good, interesting game on Sunday, is it? Saturday evening, isn't it? Yeah, we'll watch it.
Saturday and then Tuesday.
Flip.
Yeah, we've got
That's
2
when it all
games coming
starts.
up, man. It's going to be interesting. A lot of football. After no Spurs, we're going to have back-to-back games for Spurs, man. So it'll be very interesting to see who Thomas Frank picks and how we react to, this news.
I just realised we're not back next Tuesday because it's Champions League, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Champions League, yeah.
It's Champions League. So we've
it's
got 2 weeks.
following Tuesday.
Yeah, following Tuesday. It's a 2-week break.
Sweet.
Jesus, yeah.
I know.
All right, then.
All right, people.
Fair enough.
You're back tomorrow, are you? You back
Yeah,
tomorrow?
I'll be back for Rivals, guys. So make sure you check it out.
See how the Rivals react to Daniel Levy going, how they scared.
Yeah. There'll be lots of shits and giggles there, man. And you'll get to see Olu talking his nonsense instead of the comments.
Yep. Interesting times. Well, enjoy the match, whatever you watch it. And I will see you next Tuesday.
Big up, man. Big up.
All right.
Big up to the chat as well, man.
Yeah, no worries. All good. Always. All right. See you later.
Really good, man.
So you're back tomorrow. Oh God, what have I done?
You pressed the wrong button.
Yeah, I pressed the wrong button. Yeah, there we go. Transition. Yeah, so you're back tomorrow. Well, let the people know what's going on, innit?
Yeah, Wednesday. We'll be on tomorrow. I don't think there's any international games, but we'll be on. Look out for us. Put your notification bell on, and I don't know. I might throw out some interesting debates. There's still a lot of football to talk about. Harry Kane will be one of them. Isak will be another one, and Haaland will be another one. Who is the better striker? But yeah, we'll get into it, man.
Who's going to be the top team in London as well now that Daniel Levy's left?
Yeah, he's Londoners, man. He is Londoners.
We're going to claim Black London as we were before he came. We're going to turn it Lily White.
That's right, man. But yeah, man, big up, man.
Big up. We won't be back now for another 2 weeks doing this because next week's Champions League. So we'll see everyone back fresh. We've got loads of games to rerun. We'll have 3. Yeah, we'll have 3 to look back on. But yeah, big up to everyone. I think I'm on last word on Spurs on Saturday, and I don't think I am Villarreal.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm Villarreal. I can't remember. I need to go check what I've put myself down for and what I haven't.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll be back in some capacity somewhere.
Yeah, I'll be about, man. I'm around still, so you'll see me.
But yeah. But please make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Love. We out.